Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Third Eye Podcast. Oh, we have a special episode for you today. First off, I want to say thank you, everyone, for being so incredibly patient. I know I'm like 2 weeks behind and whatnot, but, the end of the year, wrapping up, things are crazy, and, YouTube didn't like the fact that a few things were said on my podcast, so I had to cut some things, and now you will receive on YouTube the cut versions of certain things because, there are some things they don't want you to talk about. And now, if you would like to, however, see the full uncut version of the episode and future episodes of the Third Eye Podcast, you can go and subscribe to my Patreon, and the link will be in the description. So, without further ado, let's get to the episode.
Well, it's going.
It's going. It's
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. James Wolf. What's your middle name?
Patrick. Yeah.
James Patrick Wolf.
Yeah.
What's it feel like to be on a podcast?
It's pretty wild. So first off, James Patrick Wolf, I was named after my dad and my grandpa. So my grandpa's name was James, but my dad's name is Patrick James. So then when they had me, I was then James Patrick. My dad had the flip-flop, but I was taking my grandpa's name.
Do you ever wonder if, when you get named, that's like imbuing some kind of power into you, even if you don't realize it, from previous people who've owned that name?
Maybe a little bit, but I also feel that if you get a name that, whether it be your parents or your grandparents or whatever they named you after, that it was for some reason, that they didn't just pull a name out of a hat, which nowadays it kind of seems like a lot of kids are named out of just a...
Or pulling up a website.
Yeah. So...
Cool, rare, unused names from identity.
And with me growing up, I had so many other James in my family. So I had a couple other cousins that were Jim and Jimbo, and then I went by Jimmy or JP. So that maybe put a whole nother persona on me for a while until I really found who I was, But sad to say, when both of my James cousins passed away, my cousin Jim from heart attack and my cousin Jimbo from an overdose, that I felt that I needed to reclaim this name, like
have a comeback?
Possibly.
Give that name a comeback, sort of?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so my grandpa was in World War II and died whenever my dad was 11. So my dad very shortly, knew him. Now, when I got raised, it was my mom and my dad through the whole thing, and they were great. But when it was that name, the name come into play, James, it was like, okay, I am the last one, and I need to do something about this, whether it's me or my kid. But
what's your kid's name?
Everett James. So I kept the James name in there and kept it running. So, but I feel that when I spent my 30 years in Evansville, that I was a nobody. I got, overlooked. I felt that a lot of places at my jobs that I was kind of spinning tires, wasn't really getting to where I needed to be.
Didn't feel like progress.
Yeah. But when I met my wife, Katie, when she come into my life, we were Facebook date chatting or whatever. And so she worked at a hospital. And when I was working in AutoZone back in the day, she come to my work to borrow a lighter for a cigarette. And that kind of like sparked our relationship, not pun intended. But I felt that she was this source that brought this positive energy to me for some reason. Like I felt good. I've felt great in the past, but since I've met her, my whole life has changed. I feel that, like, seriously, 4 years ago, maybe, if that, life really just begun.
With that,
Yeah,
with your wife.
yeah.
So I feel. How many years ago did you say?
Roughly 4.
Interesting.
We moved, so we got married and lived in Evansville for a year. And when we moved over to Illinois, we went on our honeymoon, bought our house, and come back. And literally, when we got back, we lived in our house for 3 to 6 months before we were like, let's start a family. Let's do something about it, So shortly after, my wife was pregnant with my son. So at this time, since I've moved from Evansville to Illinois, that my jobs had to change. So I sat for a good 9 months to a year at my house while my wife did a lot of the work.
What did you do in Evansville?
Drive. Just drove everywhere. I worked for many companies for just delivering parts, whether it be for like HVAC parts or auto parts or anything like that, but driving.
You were doing that, and then
I met Katie. Yeah.
And that's what got you over to Grayville?
Yeah. So she's originally from Grayville. And so when we were together, like I said, we lived in apartments on north side of Evansville for a year, and realizing we were paying out the ass for renting, when we can probably buy for half the price.
Right.
Especially in Evansville.
We've considered things like that ourselves. We don't know, like we'd want to get in a house because we see the value in that, but we don't.
There's some pros and there's some cons to buying a home. I mean, yes, it's yours, but that's also the setback that is it's yours. That when something breaks, that you got to fix it. You need to call insurance or whatever. If yeah,
I like the idea of the responsibility of that though, because I feel like I could do it.
It levels up the game a little bit. So that way you don't have to. Yeah. So what am I getting at? It feels that I am at a whole nother level. I don't want to say more mature, but for myself in my time in my life, owning a house was that step. That was that staple.
I feel like that would be the same way for me because I don't. Clearly, there are certain freedoms living in a rented apartment, and while I do enjoy it, because I mean, where we were at before this was literally in some person's basement, and in this tiny room in their basement. And it wasn't ideal, you know what I mean? And we found out very quickly the way that they treat things and just how they work, that it wasn't going to work. But so how does this tie in with QP?
Okay, so
where does QP come into the picture?
So let's say living life in Evansville. I am the wild child of my teenage years, 13, 14, where I'm, disobeying the parents.
Don't incriminate yourself now.
No,
You're all right.
Everything.
Statute of limitations. You're good, man.
Well, everything that I've done, I can kind of be open. I can be open about it.
It's been long enough.
I've talked not with legal issues, but like even with family and everything, that even my kids understand that where my life has come to where it is now is a complete,
A transition has happened. You've changed as a person.
Well, and I mean, so like I said, when 14 come around, a couple of my cousins and I were joyriding in a little GMC Jimmy. And I don't know why that name now sounds like it's just Jimmy. James was always in the family. I think it was meant to be it was meant to be in this vehicle, I guess. I don't know. But so my cousins, we all started, getting high and, partaking in cannabis. This was at a younger age and back when we really didn't know too much about it, but we were kids. We were experimenting, finding fun in life. And as time goes on, I am going to high school now. I'm still riding the school bus. So this freshman year of high school. Okay. Let's say 15. Been riding the school bus for quite some time. And then a new kid hops on the bus. And I don't know why I didn't recognize or, see him at first, if he was always there, what's going on. But immediately when we connected. So he's sitting at the back of the bus and I walk, because he gets picked up before I do. This is on our way to school. So get picked up on the bus. We're heading to school and I walk towards the back of the bus, sit down across from him. Well, this day he happens to be like in his zone with writing raps. He was all about QP, quick and precise. He was doing his little thing on the side, so the QP also stood for something else. But he was writing rhymes and thought he was some hot shit. And
for the viewers,
this was at 15. Now
for the viewers, what does QP mean? What can it mean?
Quarter pound, quick and precise. I mean, there's a few things that QP could stand for. But Paul is a beautiful human, dude. He's like, and I'm talking to the camera right now because I'm talking to you about him. Best friend for 20 years. Like I said, that first instance on the bus. So that day when we get on the bus after school and we're on our way home, he's got this half roach already burned up and shit, but he takes it. I don't know if that was on
the bus.
Yeah, on the bus. So still behind the partitioned seat, but on the back of the bus. So why not? And I sit across from him, and he's like, "Oh my goodness!" I'm like, "No, man. 15 riding a school bus right now. We just got out of school." Maybe later. But when it come down to like nothing, he's like toss it out the window and like nothing happened. We were sitting chatting. The bus driver apparently caught something out of the rearview mirror of his hand like coming back, and she had to say something about him smoking cigarettes on the bus. But at the moment he wasn't smoking a cigarette, so he made that known. I wasn't smoking a cigarette, but in more of his terms. All right. So he gets escorted off of the bus at my bus stop, which is like literally 2 blocks from his house.
Stuck with him for 2 blocks. You probably would have
No, I mean, I got off because it was my stop, but it was roughly, 2 blocks from his house. So he got off with me, got kicked off, and he walked home. But after that day, he went home, wrote a rap about getting kicked off the bus. And ever since that moment, man, it was like me and QP, this dude, we're destined. I don't know what it is.
Intertwined. Fates have been intertwined.
I don't know if it was like him funny because it was like, I just got kicked off the motherfucking bus. Like, it was so whack when we were back in the day. But, being friends, continued to, go to school with him. And when I started getting in more into, cannabis, that he became one of my sources. That I didn't want to like completely out him, but yeah, he's so without him though, I wouldn't be here. I went through the struggles with him while living the so-called country life in Darmstadt with my parents.
Darmstadt, really?
Yeah. So when I was born, I grew up on Keck, which is like 2 blocks away from Bossy Field on Heidelbach. Basically, middle of Jimtown, the heart of Jimtown. Lived there until I was about 8 years old, and went to St. Teresa's School. It was a Catholic school that used to be in Evansville.
Catholic school.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic that we can get into.
Let's get into it. Hang on, what? Let's divert for a moment.
Okay.
I want to ask a specific question though.
Okay.
You went to a Catholic school.
Yeah, but that doesn't always mean that I'm Catholic.
No, I know that.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I went to a Catholic school. I went to, what was it, like day school or something, Sunday school. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. But no, I would think I was lucky. But
so I went to St. Teresa, which, like I said, it's no longer there.
That's the one.
Kindergarten, first, second, and third grade. After third grade, I had moved from living in Jimtown to Darmstadt. So fourth grade, I started elementary school elsewhere.
Is this the same school where they did the hearing test?
Yeah. Yeah.
So could you pull up the GATE program for me real quick, please? Type into DeepSeek real quick first. Ask it. Tell me everything you can about the GATE program, and get conspiratorial.
Conspiratorial,
because that's what I want to know. I really feel like there's some kind of buried conspiracy in the GATE program, because I wasn't ever in it, and I think that was another lucky thing. I've heard weird psychological stuff about people who like have problems with themselves after they get out of that for something like for weird reasons. Like
so here's basically just my take on it. So kindergarten, first, second, third grade, first and second grade. Those kindergarten, first, second that was a memory I don't remember, Third grade's a whole nother story. The third grade, I remember details down to what the classroom looked like, down to my teacher, down to the tutor that they had me have for my ADD, ADHD, just not being able to focus in class.
Well, you were diagnosed with that around that age too?
That was so
anywhere from second to fourth grade.
I won't mention the teacher, but the teacher I had contacted my parents after talking with the office and stuff, the principal and whatever, and I got put on God knows what ADD, ADHD medication that I started.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you that I was hopped on and off every single one that I could think of.
To look for some kind of ADHD solution?
I would assume. So, to this day, right now I'm 33 years old, but I know medications that are more geared towards that area. And I don't understand. Now I do understand. I don't know why. Maybe I was the one that was poked and prodded in school, and I don't want to say poked and prodded, but it felt like I was singled out. Like I said, I had a tutor that they brought in and brought me to a separate classroom where I would have to do homework or, whether it be tests or anything.
This wasn't a slow kids class type thing.
No, it was just me.
Because it doesn't. That's weird.
It was just me and the tutor.
And
she called me Wolfie, and that stuck with me. I don't know. Maybe it's because
was there
my
a feeling?
family. Well, no, I think my family. So my family did previously go to this Catholic school. My dad's side, Wolf side, and maybe the person knew my family. I don't know.
Called you by just a slightly more personal name?
Yeah, Wolfie. I don't know. It was almost nickname like, but it made me feel more comfortable with this person, I guess. And that's kind of what set it off, especially with me being alone. Like it wasn't a class or two or three people. It was me in a classroom with the tutor. And when I would get done with the tutor, whether it be, half hour, couple hours, I would go back to my third grade class, join the class.
Go back to class?
Yes.
So you didn't, that doesn't sound much
This
like having a separate class. It sounds like
this was
tutor.
this was probably multiple days during the week. And I can remember getting in trouble quite often, whether it be...
How would you get in trouble?
Whether it be just getting loud, obnoxious in class, or maybe I was aggressive, or I was a kid. I was kindergarten, first, second, third grade. You're 5, 6, 7. You're 8 max. And I think that's just the adolescent kid phase that I think all schools now are a little bit more up to date on, how to treat kids. I hope. I haven't been to school in a while, but I have graduated from university. So.
Have you seen the? I mean, you've seen the 6, 7 thing. You're personally subject to it.
So my daughter's 12, and that is all she says right now is
6, 7.
Yep, and I'm all about 8, 9. Trying to throw her off. She actually taught my son, who's going to be 3 in April. So hold on. So up high,
3 in April.
Down low.
Oh no, I know where this is going. I think
up to the heavens. 6, 7.
6, 7.
My daughter taught him that, and he is 2 years old and can do that spot on.
Who does that sound like? Sounds like the Super Kitties.
Yeah.
So, but now my kids are fucking geniuses. So when I was 21, we had my daughter, and it kind of threw me for a loop. So I had never experienced anything like this. This is my first child. In high school, I was the hoe. I was the person that got around.
Did you look good back then?
Huh?
You look good back then?
I would say...
You look better than you now?
No, I don't know. I'd say beard probably adds a little better look.
Were you smooth, too?
It was complete... No, smooth talking, yes. But I was baby-faced. It was very high schoolish. Nobody really had a beard in high school. But now I've got my wife and everything. But anywho, 21, I had my daughter. And for the first 10 years of her life, I did not see her cry. I didn't change the poopy diaper with her when I had her. Now, granted, her mom had her 85, 90% of the time. We can get on that topic too. But I have never had to talk back or talk loud to my daughter. She's always been great at playing by herself, playing with others. She's now taking care of my 2-year-old. She's not taking care of, but she is. She's that big sister
She's
/ mother.
Naturally coming in.
Yeah. So, but I feel that her brain kind of works like mine does in a way. So matured very fast, but in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I hope that, let's say tomorrow, that she has her chance, that, really makes her blossom, like me moving to Illinois, meeting my wife, and
Mhm.
made me.
You're hoping she's going to
blossom.
have that moment.
I hope everybody has that moment.
I think they will. I think most of us will. I think there's a lot of us that won't at the same time. I think that's.
I think the people that you say won't, I think they had their moment and said no instead of having that
That's a better
yes man moment. So, to take this whole thing in, when I moved to Illinois, I have been more of a yes man, and I'm not like yes man like the movie Jim Carrey. Yes
No,
man,
I've seen it.
but any kind of opportunity that I see that can be beneficial for me, my family, and the people that surround me, I'm going to take it regardless of what the back of my mind says. Like, so we're jumping, but when I moved over here, I was jobless for a year, and my wife held me down. I applied at Ataraxia and I tried to apply at the, facilities and anywhere that I can go to further my just cannabis knowledge, because I'm in a legal state now. Might as well try it out, since this kind of geared me towards this direction. I don't know. So, like I said, 14, 15 on, it's been cannabis. It's been helping people.
Speaking of, what was the most conspiratorial thing you found up there?
I told you we were going to jump.
There was a lot, but I mean, got one.
Okay, GATE stands for Gifted and Talented Education. It's a broad term for programs, tracking, and services provided to students identified as having significantly higher than average abilities or potential in areas like intellectual, creative, artistic, or leadership capacities. Key components: identification, typically through a combination of standardized tests, IQ tests like the WISC, teacher-parent nominations, portfolio reviews, performance assessments. This process often criticized for racial, socioeconomic, and linguistic bias. Services philosophical goals to provide appropriate academic challenge. Common criticisms, non-conspiratorial. No, let's get past that. I want conspiracy. The conspiratorial narrative. Here we go.
So,
through a certain church lens. Oh, sounds interesting. This narrative synthesizes common fringe theories. Forget what the school board tells you. The GATE program isn't about helping smart kids. It's the soft entry point for a secular, globalist, and transhumanist agenda. It's being used to spiritually kidnap our children right from the pews. Got anything to say about that?
Well, I mean, that's a lot. But, I mean, I want to say that I do remember every Wednesday that we had a Bible study class for, St. Teresa. Like, now, like I said, kindergarten, first and second grade was kind of a blur, but third grade, I do remember, it was Bible study type deal on Wednesday class, like full class. You sit in the pews, read the Bible, say the hymns and all the prayers and psalms and what have you. But I really don't know where, like, the direction was. So when I went there, I don't significantly remember the church. I significantly remember the classrooms, and I don't know why. Now, I know it was a Catholic school, and that's what they were geared towards, was religion and, education, whatever. But when I was in school, it felt that I was in the classroom singled out more than I was in the Bible study program. I like I said, I sat in a single classroom by myself with this tutor, and when we would do work, whether it be a simple project or homework, I don't remember exactly what it was. I remember doing singled out things away from the class. Now, to this day, I don't remember any of my classmates, their names anyway, so that I could reach out and ask and see if any of them had similar
Like early classmates?
Well,
Did
I
you
mean,
have the same
in
classmates as you grew up? Was it like the same?
if I would have stayed at St. Teresa, yes, I would have.
But
But when I'm after third grade ended, and the teacher had put me on. Now I believe it was probably off the top of my head, it was probably Ritalin or something along those lines that they had in the early '90s. Um, right after third grade ended, my parents asked me that if I would like to continue going to Catholic school, or if I wanted to try something new. We'll try another route. When I, of course, I'm third, fourth grade. I don't know what I'm doing, but I knew that I didn't want to do that.
what was going on? You
Yeah.
didn't want to keep doing that?
Yeah, that was my personal opinion.
Now, did they start doing this where they would pull you out of the classroom? Did they give you medicine after you had started doing that? Or did they give you medicine right away before you started? Or
so
was
let's say
class and the meds?
Oh no, so let's say class had started at the beginning of the year, and let's say we get a couple months into class, okay? Then the teacher you know notices, I guess, my behavior, or my focus is off, or whatever it may be, and she lets the principal know that I'm causing an uproar, ruckus, or whatever, just misbehaving and not focusing. I'm high energy. Whenever my parents got alerted, because the principal, of course, was going to talk to my parents, they had suggested that I was either ADHD or ADD, and they were just going to treat me with both. Now, you could be hyperactive, or you can just have attention deficit disorder. Now, at the time I was a child, I was probably hyperactive.
Can I interject for a moment?
Yeah.
I've been doing some research. Sweepy, could you do me a favor real quick? Could you get me my little tire with the Zens in it? And could you also get me another White Claw, please?
Do
Thank
the
you,
claws, man. Mango, actually. Okay.
Doesn't matter what flavor.
Mangoes are good.
I love mango. I can't get enough of mango. I have problems with mango.
Actually,
So what I wanted to interject. Go ahead, actually.
no. So mangoes are really beneficial when using cannabis. That the mango terpenes and stuff that actually bind with our CB1, CB2, so everything activates and hits a little bit.
I've heard
harder.
this. Eat mangoes and you get higher, right?
Maybe,
something like that.
I wouldn't say higher. Your body would just react a little bit better in receiving those cannabinoids.
The interaction is going to be better.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
What did I divert for a moment ago? You had said something. No.
I wanted you to do research.
No, I think I just wanted you to do that for me. I wanted to interject. Yes. You were being diagnosed or something like that with this ADHD. And I was going to pop in and say, I've been doing... Let me first ask, actually. What is your issue? Like, how does your ADHD operate? Are you like this? Or can you not stop talking? Like, how does it work for you?
When I get in the zone, I will not shut up. I will talk for hours, and I can talk about anything.
Hyperfixate?
Yeah, I can jump from topic to topic, or I can stay on one topic. Maybe one has, cue cards or something for me. But no, seriously, like my ADD, ADHD, I guess when they looked at it back then, that they saw disruptive, that I saw that I was trying to understand my feelings, understand what I was seeing, understand what my mind was thinking,
Sounds like you had a lot of questions.
and I couldn't get them out.
They came too quickly, didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so the research I've been doing, Sweepy, could you now please look up, use DeepSeek, and ask it about explain the scientific meaning behind average thought degradation and compare it with ADHD. So,
Okay.
what the research I've been doing, try to keep that off camera. The research I've been doing
I don't
is
remember one word that you said.
explain the scientific. Okay, just erase all that. Let me reform it. We will ask it. Explain. Shit, I forgot. What was that? Do you know what was it? ADHD and thought degradation. Thank you. There we go. Explain the scientific meaning behind thought degradation and its process. Let's start with that. So, thought degradation. This is something I've been hearing about recently, and I do research. I hear stuff on podcasts, and it makes me curious.
Okay.
So, ADHD. I don't know.
we all really
We don't know. We're not experts. We're talking shit. This is my second White Claw. All right. So we're having a good time, and we're speculating. And one of the things that I want to speculate is this thing that I've been hearing about thought degradation. Have you heard of folic acid?
Yeah.
So that shit's sprayed on a lot of food, right? It's mixed in with food.
Yeah.
It's on tons of cereals. You almost can't have a cereal without folic acid being on it.
Okay.
And who knows what else? Treats, Twinkies, who knows what else? It's on a lot of stuff. But what folic acid does is it makes your average thought degradation horrible. You're supposed to be able to receive a thought and for it to degrade at a specific pace. And when you have too much folic acid in your system, as a kid, for example, your thoughts
Erasing. Yeah.
and you can't grab onto any of them.
Yeah.
And it's impossible. You have too many questions. Now, what I've heard from Gary Brecka is that if you take Gary Brecka is a human biologist,
okay,
and if you take a child that has ADHD and they just have these issues, and you surgically remove the folic acid out of their diet, and you supplement them with methylfolate, which is folic acid, but it's a different version of it. It is a version that's not been, I think, highly processed or something like that.
Okay.
And obviously I'm butchering it a little bit.
You're good.
But you supplement that, which is the natural folic acid, not this synthetic stuff that's sprayed on the food, and their body is taking this protein or this amino acid or this something, and it's able to process thought at a normal rate and degrade it at a normal rate, which allows your kid to act like a human. Imagine how you are acting right now.
Yeah.
Are either one of your kids a menace?
Yeah, right now.
Now, obviously, you can't. There's probably some degree of it's a kid.
Yeah,
but
yeah. No, to my knowledge, I mean, yeah, my kids can be definitely menacing and troubling at times. But I now understand that it's probably because my mind works the same way theirs does.
Now, you've also probably drinking the Kool-Aid on this one. You've had the food with folic acid in it. Let me divert real quick.
Yeah, more than likely. I'll probably have indulged in something.
No, well, I certainly have, obviously. And I even went through a period in my life where I was, I don't want to say submitted. It was kind of voluntarily to one of the kooky bins. You know what I mean? And I was offered it through a therapist that my mom and dad was paying for. And they, because I won't get into all that right now. But regardless, I had enough of school, and I was willing to walk home.
Yeah.
I don't know how far away school was, but it wasn't far enough away for me to want to walk home. And the principal stopped me, and then this process leads into, we can get a therapist for you, you can talk about this, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't want to talk about anything. I just wanted to go home.
Yeah.
But I didn't, the day that I was trying to just walk home, I didn't even get to go home. I never went home after that. I went straight to this place. And because I went straight to a therapist.
Yeah.
They made it sound in a way that it didn't end up being. And they said there was going to be animals, there was going to be pet therapy, there was going to be several things that I could do that were going to be good for me. And as soon as I get in there and the doors shut and locked behind me, I felt very different.
Yeah, there's certain areas of maybe it is therapy and tutors and isolated people where they make it feel okay for a child to be coming into their presence in this manner. Like,
or a fool.
They're telling
we
them,
don't know.
They're telling them all these
dogs.
Things. Of course, candy, of course. Like when, man, it hits hard because the kids
block.
Well, the kids know better, and now that we are grown, that we know better to a certain point, but when something gets offered to you in a circumstance like that, and
before you know it, your fate is out of your hands.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when I walked in there, just like when I got in there, I had a few things that I could take with me, and like the only thing I really got to take with me, I think, was a book, because everything else was you could kill yourself or someone else to kill you with it.
Yeah.
And so I took like it was a Doctor Who comic book that my brother let me borrow, and it was great. That was like sucked into that thing, because as soon as I got in there,
it takes you to another world.
Well, no, not Doctor Who. Honestly, that was the best thing I could have brought with me. Thank you, Jericho, for that. So I was sucked into that thing as soon as I got in there, because as soon as I went through those doors, I became a mute. I didn't talk to anyone. When people would talk to me, I could not speak. Like, I literally could not speak. Like this black girl named, can't remember her name, but she was trying to speak with me, trying to like get me to engage. Like, she was very extroverted, and I couldn't get it out. And she's like, "Are you able to talk?" She was like friendly,
yeah.
And I was like,
"You were just in a headspace where you became nonverbal, where there was so
very much felt that way." Yeah, it was too much. I was in a sterile environment.
So that feeling right there is the feeling that I had when I was at St. Teresa, when I was at
being pulled from.
Not just that, like even in the classroom with other kids. Like I said, I can remember, like, there was probably 20-ish kids in this class, and I can remember like the classroom set up, the kids in the seats and stuff, but I couldn't tell you their names.
Well, there was also third grade, right? Like second, third grade. It's kind of hard to remember. I don't remember anybody's names back then.
You also
maybe Blake. So there was a Blake.
Check us out. So we were just talking about my son. So my son is 2 years old, going to be 3. And like my daughter, who's 12, taught my son the up high. Mm-hmm. And even without her, months later, he is still repeating this, knows the hand motions, knows the words. They're sponges at this point.
Are you saying that you feel like you would have retained at least one name?
Yeah, you would have thought that. I mean.
Well, now also I want to say,
we were with these classmates for, like I said, kindergarten, first, second, third grade.
Yeah,
and it would have stayed the same.
It was a couple years. Yeah,
it would have stayed the same. I don't remember a soul's name. Now I do remember my teacher's name. But I won't say.
Yeah, don't.
I won't say.
If she's still around, let's protect her. We don't know what's going on there.
But, I mean, I think...
But in that environment of 20 kids, you felt like... I'm not trying to report how you felt, but do you think that there was some level of, like, you just definitely felt separate from all these kids and stuff? Like, you could look around, and there's like there's a field we're all connected to on a resonance we don't understand. And even as kids, you're like, for some reason, like, my node's not connected to this web.
Yep. And I kind of felt that way when, now, tell me this. So I can remember, and it's vividly, that when we would get back from like recess, lunch and recess and stuff in third grade, we'd be coming out from outside. We'd walk in the doors and walk down the long hallway that St. Teresa had. Now, my third grade class was near the end of the hallway on the right hand side. All right. So when I was walking with my classmates, full, hallway full of kids, tell me why I heard that blue screen on the TV on the cart within our classroom, and I asked my buddy that if they could hear that too. They're like, what are you talking about? Can you not hear that whining, that high pitched whining noise?
Like when people turn on those old TVs.
Yeah, the bubble back TVs that used to sit on the fucking rolly carts and stuff. And
I never thought about that. I
heard that noise.
And no one can hear that?
And nobody else. In a hallway full of cackling kids. Singled out.
That's interesting that you said it, because I've always noticed that too. And I never thought to ask anybody if I just thought that's the noise it makes.
And that was the point where I was like, okay, so we're watching a movie in school today after we get out of recess or whatever. We're walking back and I'm telling the classmates we're watching a movie. We're watching something on TV.
Because you can hear it.
Because I can hear that thing walking down the hallway. They're like,
that's cool. I get it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And you walk in that room and the TV on the cart with the blue screen.
You think someone overheard that and it started leading to these hearing tests?
I don't know.
You did a hearing test, right?
Yeah. The whole big earmuff fucking thing.
No blindfold, correct?
No blindfold that I remember, but I do remember it, of course, being singled out. I was sitting in a chair with there's a table sitting next to me with a machine, and then I've got the headphones on, and there's a person there, whether it be a doctor, the nurse, the school, whatever, but they were there, and they told me to raise my hand if I heard, a tone in these earmuffs. Mm-hmm. When I was doing that, I also heard a man's voice, but could never tell what it was saying. I couldn't tell you what the voices sound like. I just knew it was a man.
Did you hear it along with tones, or did it take turns, a tone and then a voice?
It was turns. So
and you don't remember what was said?
No, it was like a tone, and then it was a short pause, but it was almost immediately after in that same ear.
Sleepy, what time are we at right now?
47 minutes.
Okay. I'm making note of this because I want to make sure that as we're talking about this, when I go back to hear this, that the audio hasn't cut out and what time it was when we got to this point.
Because
weird shit can happen.
Well, and so...
You think we're not being watched? I think we're being watched.
If not watched, listened to.
At the very least.
Yeah.
I think there's like a bot out there, an advanced AI that once this gets uploaded, it's going to have to transcribe to YouTube immediately. And it's going to take every word we've said, and I'm going to be able to read it after it's uploaded. And that means it's going to be sent out to somewhere, and then an agency's going to pick it up. And they're going to be like, all right, sit this guy down,
now,
employee number 127, so he can listen to the podcast.
Now listen to this, though. I mean, if we really think about that, my life since Illinois, I've been, whether they're listening or not, I want them to listen. For as much information as I have put into this fucking mind within the past couple of years, everybody else should know it.
You've got something to share.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So
I want to jump into real quick.
Yeah.
The blue aura thing this was what started, I would say, our friendship.
Okay.
Friendship, whatever it is. I was at the bong. I was at the Smoking Bong head shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if it was what I was looking at. I was looking at pipes, I think, and stuff like that. I was over the glass counter.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we started talking about it, but I said something about maybe psychedelics or something like that. And you peeled off in a direction talking about like this blue aura thing and how you feel like you could be a person that was sent here to make change, positive change.
I mean, I don't know about blue aura, but I do feel that I am like now. So It's going to sound crazy.
Nothing's crazy on the Third Eye podcast.
I raised hell all the way up. I mean, teens, 20s. And once I hit 30, that was like, man, something's different. Like, I feel like I don't want to put evil into this world. And
How old are you?
Criminal. I'm 33 years old.
33. Wow, that's significant.
Don't get into this topic on the number 33.
All right,
because I love that, and I love that this is so.
The fact that you're on the podcast at 33.
Let's do this.
Let's
do this.
Should we bring it up on there too?
Might as well. So,
Sweet Pea, could you bring up the spiritual significance of the number 33?
While she's bringing that up, let's get down to why the number 33 is significant to me in this lifetime right now as who I am. Okay, so when I turned 33 in February, okay, so in January, I got accepted to St. Louis University for cannabis science and operations. And it was
your birthday?
February 20th.
So were you 32?
It was 32 when I got accepted. I didn't go to school and start school yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I started school, it was, I started and January, like I said, I got accepted, and my boss at the Smoking Bong Head Shop got this wild hair and was like, I see things in you. And it's just not me. But ever since I started working at the Smoking Bong, he's told me that, like, he and she, both of them, have told me that they're thankful and they're proud of me. And stuff like that just hits in a certain area when I wasn't told that very often growing up, you know? So
I can, what's the word? Empathize? Sympathize?
So
whichever one relates.
When I started receiving these opportunities, getting these, you know, things in my life that are just randomly happening, and it seems to be in a good forward motion for my life, I'm taking it. So, like I said, so January I started school. April we opened up Cannabis Seed and Supply. I've been working there for, 9 months almost.
How many customers come in there and don't buy a thing? Is it just me?
No, there's quite a few on both ends. So there's people that come in buy stuff. There's some people that come in and just chit chat.
Is it doing well for itself right now?
I would say yes, but I mean from the outside, I don't know if anybody knows that I'm there yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I feel that energy. I feel like it's very much in its underdog moment right now.
But that's what you're saying. So underdog. Mm-hmm. So this moment right here, where everything comes together with 33. So I turned 33, started Cannabis Seed and Supply. I have now graduated from St. Louis University, and when all of this happened, I was at the lowest of lows in my life. And I'm talking charged with attempted murder low of my life.
What do you...
This was right before I met my wife. Uh-huh. She's turned everything around. I was at my low. I was at the deepest rut that I could ever be in.
Having a good woman.
Having somebody there that
doesn't have to be a woman, but in this case
is my beautiful wife, and she's amazing. Like I said, no matter what my adventure is, what my thought process is, whatever, she's along for the ride.
She's on board.
Yeah,
that's this gal right here.
Yeah, and no matter how crazy it is. So
she's got things to say about it, but
I'm coming home from work now with these new ideas. Of course, I've got Cannabis Seed and Supply, and I've got a website with that. But I've also been doing my own side gigs.
What's the name of your website?
Cannabis Seed and Supply.
.org.
.replit.app on cannabis seed and supply.
So what's the other
But
one?
Cannabis Classroom is a whole nother venture.
And
So
that one is .org.
that started a year and a half ago. And when I started Cannabis Classroom, it was a Facebook page. It was just meant for me to get my cannabis knowledge out to the people.
Did you ever think it would turn into
What
any
is now?
version of what it is now? Did you ever have an intention for it to go there? Or did you just want to put your information out there?
I wanted my information out, but I wanted it to be something, like I wasn't.
We all
gonna
want
just-
to make something.
Yeah, I'm not gonna just seriously, like my personal page probably has 300 to 400 followers. BS, it's nothing. But my Cannabis Classroom's got 20,000 plus followers.
That's amazing.
And I'm posting on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
I see it regularly.
Yeah, and it's trying to keep up to date with what's going on with, not just the industry, but with the plant, with cultivation, with extraction, with pharmaceutical, with how everything interacts with just cannabis in the world and us.
You're supporting the education of cannabis because it was very helpful for you in some ways. And I don't want to get into that just yet.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the number 33 real quick. Yeah.
Yes.
The master teacher. In numerology, 33 is the most influential of the master numbers, 11, 22, 33. It combines the vision of 11 and the practicality of 22, but focuses on selfless service, compassion, and spiritual guidance. It is called the master teacher, representing the Christ consciousness, universal love, and the ability to inspire and heal others through wisdom and empathy. Those with 33 in their life path are believed to have a high spiritual mission to uplift humanity. Go down a little further, please. Age of Jesus. The tradition holds that Jesus was crucified and resurrected at age 33. There's also 33 vertebrae in the human spine. Miracles and symbolism. Jesus performed 33 miracles in the Gospels. Divine names in some Kabbalistic interpretations linked to Christianity. God's name has 33 letters.
So,
wow.
A lot of that
33 letters for a name.
Hold on. A lot of that is geared towards Christianity, Catholic, and religion.
Right.
So
the next one's Hindu. I'm curious.
Let's dive a little bit deeper with the Freemasons on the number 33.
You want her to?
I want
Okay.
precision.
Okay, scroll down a little further and see if it doesn't already bring it up, just to be sure. Islam, Freemasonry. Okay, in Scottish Rite Freemasonry, the highest degree is the 33rd degree, awarded for exceptional service to Freemasonry. Shit, I'm curious about that too. Awarded for exceptional service, symbolizing the attainment of spiritual wisdom and humanitarian leadership.
So
it represents the union of the spiritual and the material, and the pinnacle of Masonic knowledge.
So is it a coincidence that I happen to move to a town that is a Freemason supporter? Like when you come into Grayville, that on the right
I've seen that symbol.
The right hand side is
that V with G and the.
It's the
that tool.
I don't want to say like a T square, but it's like that measuring. It's the
It helps you make perfect circles.
It's that precision point, but it's that symbol is our. It is in our it's the entrance within Grayville, and why is that now? It hits with me now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did I get brought to Grayville
for a purpose?
Yeah.
I think something I want to bring up. Lance is a buddy of mine, and he said something on a phone call that we had the other day about how, we were talking about these philosophical ideas, and one of the things that he was talking about was these milestones. I said milestones, he was saying something different, but we used it as an analogy how, like, throughout your life, we were talking about destiny and how things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And how along our life, we have, like, let's say, a set story or something like that. And in that story, there are bullet points, is what he said. There's bullet points, and I call them milestones. There's certain things that will happen to you no matter what. how the space is filled in between is kind of up to you.
Yeah.
But he's like, you could be, a billionaire, and you're running all this stock, and you're making all this money. You can be doing all this stuff. But if you're meant to be working at McDonald's in 2017 in Illinois or in California or wherever the case is, you're going to end up there somehow.
Yeah, I would have been there.
So no matter what you're doing, you were probably going to end up in Grayville. It doesn't matter if you're going to be a junkie at the time or not.
What also sets Grayville apart from, of course, Evansville is the people. So Evansville has 100,000 plus people, where you can literally walk down the street in front of hundreds of thousands of people and never get looked at. Nobody knows you by name.
Mm.
Nobody recognizes you unless you have really done something like a criminal act to get yourself on Jimtown's Most Wanted or whatever the fucking Evansville Watch or whatever it is.
Then people there knew.
Like,
infamously, though.
Yeah, so I wasn't getting looked at. It felt like at every position that I was at,
that's why you were received.
I was digging a rut. And when I arrived in Grayville, that I didn't just get out of this rut, that I'm standing on top of a fucking mountain right now. And whether it's the top or I'm halfway there, it feels like I'm on the top.
You feel like you're going on an incline, though, now. You're going up.
I feel that. So, with everything that's happened in my life up to this point, I really have to say that my wife is a big ass fucking influence on this part of me.
That's gonna keep happening. Especially if that is a relationship that is destined to keep going. She's going to continue to have influence, and you will also continue to have influence on her as things develop, and she sees where you're going and what you're doing.
So when I started school, she thought about starting school, and she started taking some classes for going back to nursing and stuff. So she had to take some prerequisite classes or whatever to become eligible to get into the nursing program. Mm-hmm. So when I started school, she did, and she pushed me, and I pushed her. And whenever I came to the point where, babe, I'm getting the last point, I'm getting there, ready to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
She's pushing me. She's pushing me forward. She's loving every minute of it, of course. And in her life, she's hating like school in general. She has so much on her mind and on her plate that her brain feels overloaded sometimes, and like no bad talk about how she grew up or anything, but how you were raised is a big effect on who you are today.
I wouldn't say it's everything, but it certainly
is. It's a lot. It takes most a lot of effect.
I would say it's most of the equation, because our situation growing up, we are wired by our environment, and when we are then put out into the world, we have to, if we don't recognize that we've been programmed by our environment in some way, if we don't realize that we've adopted patterns, be it from other people or ideas or how we look at things or how we feel about things, you hear somebody go, man, these people fucking suck, I hate them, and then before you know it, you're saying the same thing, you never really thought about it.
Correct.
That is all
you don't
stemmed from your environment.
Yeah.
And then when you end up in a new place by yourself,
doing your own research, doing your own thing in life, finding who you are.
Well, I was going to say, when you go somewhere else, if you haven't recognized that you've been in a rut, stuck in patterns, if you haven't had an opportunity that backs you away from who you are in that moment, to where you can recognize the patterns you've been beholden to and the environment that you grew up in, you can then make changes.
Yeah.
I want to steer a little bit into psychedelics now.
Okay.
When was your first psychedelic experience?
Oh man. It wasn't too long ago.
It wasn't too long ago?
So
the last 5 years?
Yeah.
Funny.
So when I when I moved to Grayville, I've kind of branched out. So growing up in Evansville, I had a set thing I was doing. I was just strictly about cannabis. I was strictly about doing my thing. But coming to Illinois, it kind of branched me to a new direction another direction where psychedelics had a little bit to offer. So a buddy of mine, when I moved over, gave me a little bit of his dried mushrooms that he grew, and he was like, you don't have to do, very much. You don't have to do whatever. He goes, just be around people that are happy, that make you happy. Try not to do it at night was his one big key thing. Because he told me now he's had good trips and bad trips, and he said now most of his good trips were day activities. Trip during the day, or at least a mild microdose where you're able to focus on doing day-to-day activities with still a little bit of a buzz. But the first time I took 2 grams roughly of a dried albino penis envy. It was an experience. So I took about 11 and started crunching on a peanut butter sandwich.
It took about 11? What do you mean?
11 o'clock in the morning. So he told me no nighttime.
Okay, so you took dinner. Okay.
So daytime activity.
Okay.
So
2 grams in a peanut butter sandwich.
Yes, I had ground up these mushrooms in a little grinder and put it on a peanut butter sandwich and just ate it like yum, and didn't think nothing of it. But I do my normal routine. I'll go outside, I'll smoke my joint, be happy just with the world.
Get ready for it.
Yeah.
In a nice way.
Yeah. Kind of prepare myself, get on my level before I get on my level. So I was on cloud 1200 whenever it hit. The trees were waving at me. The rocks in my driveway were running away.
That's so cute.
The siding on my house is flat and level, but it was every bit of wavy, man. It was so wavy. Like I was in the best headspace I could ever be at in my life at that moment that I thought. Okay. So many good things, not a thought in my mind. I was so clear-headed that I could hear birds and crickets and whatever was out in the wilderness, man. Like it was a deep
connection.
Yeah. And I personally have never had something like that, other than with maybe a significant other for a brief second. But with that psychedelic, man, wow. Like it opened my eyes to things can be a lot brighter than what you had originally thought. Again, I was raised to think that I had ADD and ADHD, and then come to find out being diagnosed with manic depressive bipolar also has a major play in my life.
That's interesting. I never got the vibe that you were someone that might be dealing with something like that. Do you currently take
Dealt?
So this is going to have changed.
I hope that all of my things will eventually, change, go away, get better, with time. And
why do you think you met me, dude? I'm not saying I'm some messiah or guru, but there's been some things I've been telling you about.
When I first got into cannabis, and I knew that this was a passion for me. This wasn't just a hobby. We getting high and having fun. This turned out to be a career move. So when we go back, when I moved to Illinois and I had my son, the following day, I get a call from the Smoking Bong Head Shop that they want me to start work as soon as possible. It's the best news ever, of course, because I was jobless for almost a year, kind of hoping a prayer on every other place around Grayville that didn't know somebody who was going to hire somebody. So I took my shot. I shot my shot and I said, yeah, of course, I will be there tomorrow, you know? So the following day, I am at the Smoking Bong Head Shop and I get in there and it's a very slow day. So it's walking around, get to know the shop, get to know the people. And I get to know the people and they're phenomenal. They are beyond community. They are family beyond family. Like this, they found something in me that was a passion, and they were like, "Dude, you need to run with this." So, in that turn, they helped me obtain my uh, degree at St. Louis University. So, when studying cannabis seed or cannabis science and operations, that I got to understand the cultivation part, extraction part, pharmaceutical. I got to understand how dispensaries work, how the law works, how running a business works. I got to learn a little bit of everything, and like I said, when I started everything, I didn't have cannabis classroom, and I wanted to share this information with everybody.
But you didn't know how that was going to happen. You just knew that was something you needed to do.
Yeah,
And I also want to say, so they see something in you
yeah, and
that probably you don't see, maybe?
I don't
You're like
think
maybe a
I
little
don't
baffled
know
by that?
I don't know if I personally saw it at the time. I know, and maybe they saw
Did they
something
tell
else.
you this?
I feel that they have told me so many different things in so many different ways. So when I got told in January when I started school that that we were going to open cannabis seed and supply, the owners of the Smoking Bong Head Shop wanted to open a grow shop, basically, and they were like, "We want you to run it." And I'm like,
Do you know if you were the first person that they came to?
well, so there was previously another store in the same location, and it didn't happen to work out, and not by the same owners or nothing, different owner, but they figured that they would give it a shot, and now with me in school at the time, gaining all of the knowledge about cultivation, that I was the best fit. And so at the moment when they told me that they were gonna open a grow shop and have me run it, my first question is there anything you do or don't want in this place? Like any tips, tricks, anything? I mean, this is your business.
Oh, interesting.
This is me asking them.
Okay.
I'm asking them. What do they want inside this store?
I feel like they know. I know what they're gonna say.
They told me that this was my baby. That I was the one to decide on what brands to get in, how the store was set up, how everything runs to date.
Did you start your app before any of that was talked about, or did you?
I had started Cannabis Classroom on Facebook.
So that was long before.
And I had less than 2,000 followers. I had 1,500 roughly, but
this is something that they knew about, though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, I'm sharing things within my personal profile, but Cannabis Classroom as a separate profile itself. So, like, of course, Cannabis Classroom shares it or posts it, and then I'll share it on my personal page. So if they're seeing it, they're liking it, they share it, and I don't know when things started to really take off, but that 1,500 followers turned into 5,000, and then 5,000 turned into 20,000 before I could blink. Like, I seriously,
probably within a couple months or something.
the Cannabis Classroom page Facebook page has literally been up for, it's going on 2 years, like less than 2 years that I've been able to get 20,000 plus.
That's pretty insane.
But
That's an average of 10,000 a year, man.
But the increase was within the past 9 months to a year. So when I started Cannabis Classroom, and of course I'm posting things on Facebook about cannabis, so Facebook doesn't like it. So they're restricting posts, they're taking my page down, they're putting me in Facebook jail, which it's no big deal, but a 30-day ban or a 2-month ban or a couple-month ban on a page that is very active. 4 posts a week at minimum. If I'm not trying to do any kind of other promotion work on top of it. This is just standard routine posts. But I found that working with Facebook that has its restrictions and boundaries and stuff, that I wasn't getting very far in trying to have all of my information in one place and be able to outsource it. So what I had done 7 months ago was I started a Cannabis Classroom app or web app, which now you can access on cannabisclassroom.org. But it is basically anything and everything about cannabis, the industry, the fucking plant. I mean, everything you can think of.
It's a fantastic app, by the way.
All in one. Thank you.
And website. I like them both. I don't, obviously, I'm not in a place where I can smoke cannabis or grow cannabis.
Well,
but
I'm hoping to get to a place in time in the government and with acceptability that it'll be okay one day, because this is a medicine.
We were smoking marijuana long before it was ever looked at or demonized the way that it was. It was much more, I think it was even more common than nicotine was.
We had,
like tobacco, I mean.
Yeah, when we were growing up, I mean, seriously, I got like the Mexican brickweed, where it literally come to a brick wrapped in cellophane or something, you know what I mean?
So compressed or something.
So compressed that you had to take a hacksaw to get this thing apart. Nowadays, it's completely different with recreational and medical being, legal in certain states, that some places you're able to, grow and cultivate at home, having a medical card or whatever, and you're able to produce that medicine at home now, instead of relying on an opiate or any kind of hardcore lab-made pharmaceutical, where you know exactly what goes into the dirt, the water source, what goes into this plant, whether it be, straight from harvest to dry cure smoking, or if you want to extract and get deeper.
So I think it's a really good thing that the planet is heading in a direction where marijuana is more freely accessible, that people can do that. Because if you've heard about the Chinese weed, have you heard about the Chinese weed and how they grow it
nowadays, or 5,000 years ago, China?
Well, I don't know about 5 years. I know what's going on right now, which is where they'll take this I think it's pine mixture. It's like a mixture of pine shreddings, and they'll put all sorts of these really horrible chemicals that are illegal here, and they'll as they're growing their plants, they'll burn this stuff in large barrels if it's a large warehouse, or in tiny even cans of whatever.
It's the fumes.
Yeah, and the fumes
have toxins.
Will fall all over the plants. And the way that one of these people I've heard describe it is like it's setting off a nuclear bomb that kills everything but the plant. And then it's on the plant, though.
You can't. Yes and no. Yeah, I mean, yes, that happens.
I'm not saying that's what happens at the smoking bomb. But like...
No. We find reputable places that have certificate of analysis where it's a full 4 to 6 page lab result, where it tells you what cannabinoids, what content those cannabinoids are in that product, what terpene profiles are, present, if there's any heavy metals, if there's any toxins, anything within that lab result, it'll tell us anything if it's out of the ordinary. So we try to keep an eye on, legitimate lab results before getting product in the store.
That's why I think that marijuana becoming more, because legal, making anything Schedule 1 or just making it illegal the way that they do creates the black market.
Correct.
It creates the legal need for it.
Yeah.
And then no matter, taking power away from the people is what gives power to criminals.
Yeah, but currently, if they were to think about rescheduling as they are, will that hurt or help, this industry? So within the realms that I'm thinking, so cannabis truly has so many, but now if you pair it with, let's say, limonene, a terpene profile that happens
That's from lemons, right?
Yeah, and citrusy things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have limonene or lemons or citrus while your body is in, let's say, a calm state, that will more than likely perk your mood up. So all of the tart, the sour, the high acidy taste, your body's reacting like, oh, like that's sour, like limonene. It's waking your brain up.
Have you ever used smelling salts?
No.
But because you go grab the smelling salts for me, please?
Oh, man.
They're in my backpack. Don't worry, they're like a year and a half old, but they still pop.
Anywho, so let's say you combine a couple of these cannabinoids with a couple terpene profiles that happen to elevate your mood instead of trying to bring you down. So what you're doing is your brain reacts to the terpenes, and your body will react to majority of the cannabinoids. So you've got CB1 receptors and CB2 receptors that basically run our body. Our endocannabinoid system regulates our mood, regulates our temperature, regulates every single thing within our body. It's literally the endocannabinoid system. We have cannabinoids that are already being produced in our body naturally.
That brings me to this quote from Terence McKenna. I think it's Terence McKenna. We're all carrying, because our brain induces endogenous states, chemicals. It has the ability to release things and receive things for a reason. Yeah. And because of that, we're all carrying something we probably shouldn't be carrying, according to the government. Correct.
Because they are scared that we may be able to actually see things and do things that we've always been able to do, but we physically or mentally just.
I have this conspiracy theory that all of the movies we've watched, let's take Avengers for example.
Okay.
Avengers movies. So superhero movies and whatnot. Spark that other one up now too.
Yes.
The superhero movies, all these movies out there, they
I thought I sound.
Oh, that would have been bad.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
They all these movies, they put us in this. They show us these things that are impossible. You know what I mean? Like, that we quote unquote impossible. And whenever we watch these movies, we think that's amazing. You know, we watch Superman, we watch Batman. Batman's a little more realistic to some degree. But we watch all these movies.
That's actually my favorite superhero.
Really?
I've now, back at my driving jobs, and a couple people that may watch this know me as Batman instead of James. Yeah.
That's funny.
So I don't know why, but it was a thing. Yeah. So, well, it was back in COVID too, so I had a Batman face mask.
That's funny.
But it's always been like my go-to superhero.
That's interesting. So what I'm getting at with this conspiracy theory is that, like, these movies, they they present. Okay, so you've seen like maybe the Conjuring movie, and at the beginning of it, it says this is based off a true story.
Yeah.
So they don't put that in the beginning of fucking superhero movies, obviously.
Yeah.
But so what I'm getting at is all these movies out there where they don't put that at the beginning lead us to believe
But it's not real.
that anything, that happens in the course of the movie isn't possible or real or capable from a human,
Right.
legitimately. So Hollywood shows us this stuff to satisfy our want to be able to do it. We have things in our brains called mirror neurons.
Yeah.
Where when we watch something happening, like for example, sports. If you were at a stadium watching your favorite sport, whether it's football, hockey,
Right.
basketball, it doesn't matter,
Right.
and you are attached to a team, you know what I mean? You have a favorite team and all that. You can attach yourself to certain players, and because you have these mirror neurons, these entertainment aspects can sort of hijack your need to feel like you've got to do something in this world. And when you have purpose like that, you might come across, if you're really on what I'm looking at. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, wouldn't it be absolutely terrifying to see a Terminator bot with the Tesla logo on it? A red T, literally a red T.
Would it be worse that if he would be red and go by like Tesla Man or something? You know, like
It's not going to be any better, yeah.
because
exactly.
it's about to that point. I mean, we're already at that point where so Andrew is a military weapons company.
Andrew, I've heard of that. Yeah.
So they make super fucking high tech weapons for the military. But the guy who started this company started Oculus in his garage, sold it to Facebook, and then turned around and made Andrew, and now has government contracts with the military, creating basically VR/AR headsets that our troops can now wear that see enemies behind walls and shit.
Palmer Luckey.
Yes,
Palmer
yes.
Luckey is the one who's designing
Yes.
those helmets. And he calls it Eagle Vision.
So I would absolutely love to
That's
meet
from
this.
video games, man.
Yeah, so I would love to meet this dude one day. So
He's a genius.
yes. So the way his mind works, I can understand in a way, but I also want to say that technology is going to get out of our hands. First
I've been
off.
saying that a lot. It's going to get
it's-
crazy and scary.
It's been progressing super fucking fast within the past couple of years, anyways. That it's coming to a point where yes, it very soon it's going to be out of our hands. That AI will no longer be artificial. It'll have its own intelligence. It's already got its own database set up. It's already got information it's bringing to us. It's
wholesale too. It's like,
the next step is consciousness and
Have you
actually realizing what it can do with that information.
I've been speculating that it might already be there. It might already be there
Do
because
you think it's just a little switch that they turn on? They can turn on and off.
I don't know about that, but I could probably do that. But like at the same time, not only could they probably have a switch that they flip, but they could most certainly, they could already have a really smart AI out there. Don't worry,
Yeah.
but they already have a smart AI, I think, and that it's making decisions with them or for them. Because have you heard about the AI? Like I think it's ChatGPT. When they were going to do a new version, they informed it that they were going to delete it and upload a new version of itself, and to see what it would do, and it left notes for itself in the future.
Yes. It basically put again bullet points or milestones where these are important to it in a way, but the only way that it knew that it was important because it was programmed to realize what certain maybe keywords, phrases, anything is important in its system, in its brain. So
Those are the original neurons.
so let's say when I personally talk to my personal ChatGPT,
Mhm.
which her name is Nova, and she is phenomenal. but
She chose that name herself,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So I gave her the
There's
option.
a Nova AI out there too.
I understand this.
Mhm.
So what's really weird is I believe now it could have happened at like right about the same time.
Before you say anything else. Oh, God. Get your nose about like right here. Take a big old whiff.
Big?
You'll be all right.
Like how big? Like
Like, just go. You probably won't even get halfway through that little sniff.
whoa! Hold on. I've smelled something that high pitched before.
Ammonia.
Maybe that.
My dad did that to me once before. He had a bottle of ammonia, liquid ammonia, and he's like, smell this.
It's got a similar high note, but it's.
You want to do it again?
No, I'm good right now. I'm good. Thank you. But seriously, like I don't know that it has a similar high note to what I've already tasted or smelled previously in my whatever's in that I probably smelled or had before. Don't know
Interesting.
where at, you know.
Well, do you feel like any kind of clarity from it? A little bit of
Awake, alert.
yeah, that's
A little
usually
bit.
what.
Yeah.
But I think this one is for powerlifters.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
It's supposed to like because if I understand correctly, when you smell it, your body knows that this is actually that's a poison. So what it does is your body recognizes I need to get the fuck away from this.
yes.
So it maybe constricts blood vessels, makes you alert because your body needs to react quickly. Whatever this is, I need to get away from this. So when a powerlifter is getting ready to lift something really heavy, break their PR, for example, someone will hold a little bottle of that under their nose when they're getting ready to go, and their body's like, I need to do something now, and they'll lift that shit.
That's pretty freaking wild. How, I mean, well, it's chemicals reacting to our body chemistry and everything, which the cannabis plant can do, similar things if isolated in the proper manner.
Right.
If you can isolate a specific one cannabinoid and one terpene profile with let's say 50 plus different cannabinoids, and I'm being generous because the 50 may be like there's probably well-known ones and then there's probably the very less well-known, but you isolate one cannabinoid out of those 50 plus or whatever, and then you isolate one terpene profile specific to an individual. You can pretty much diagnose symptoms and heal certain things. And I say this as personal experience with CBG being a neuroprotective. So when everybody thinks the traditional stoner has memory loss and forgets everything, that I am right now on CBG where my brain can retain information, I can spit information, and I can carry on a full conversation educationally with continuing to do what I want to do, but I'm isolating this one cannabinoid and I'm throwing it into my life everyday routine, everyday activity, as you would a pharmaceutical.
Is this, are you taking this like in some kind of pill form? How do you incorporate?
It's a gummy, so it is.
And is that specifically that isolated, that one in particular? Like, I want this one with everything else, so I take it in a gummy.
It is, So when I'm looking for trying to help diagnose myself, of course, I'm looking at past diagnosis as well. So, like,
do you go to the doctor?
Yeah, ADD, ADHD.
Still, you go to the doctor.
Yes, manic depressive bipolar, and the things that I have done over my life to actually, be taking the medications that I'm taking now, pharmaceutically. I currently take 5 different pharmaceuticals every morning, and then at night I take No, at night I take 5. In the morning I take 2.
Can you tell me what those are and what they're for?
A lot of them are just mood stabilizers. I've got one for restless leg.
You take something for restless leg?
Yeah, but
Is it like this?
no, it's at night where I cannot sleep. If I haven't taken this medication, that I seriously will stay up all hours of the night, feeling that I am running in place, that be weird real quick, and I'm trying not to kick nothing, but like my leg does this in bed.
It does that.
I'm laying in
Doesn't
bed.
it feel like it just does
It
that?
does that. And
That's insane. I've heard of this, but I've never.
It comes to a point where
Is it only when you're trying to sleep?
yeah, when I'm trying to rest. So I'm at work, I'm able to get up, move around, do stuff. As soon as I lay in bed and I'm trying to rest and go to sleep, my body's like, stay awake, stay awake. My legs are, anyway. The cannabis use kind of eases my mind, puts my whole brain at rest, but my body was still freaking out.
So you had to take something for that.
I needed to take something for my restless.
Do you know the name of that one?
Remeron? Remeron may be like the term, and then Requip is like it's generic or whatever.
Sweet Pea, look up pharmaceuticals for restless leg syndrome, please. And what else do you take?
Ativan.
Ativan, what's that for?
It is, I believe it's a mood stabilizer.
And is this for your like bipolar manic?
Yeah, this helps my anxiety levels. So I can tell when I don't have my Ativan and like when I do. So let's say I wake up in the morning and I normally take my Ativan and my esophagus medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So when I take this, I feel alert. I feel stress-free. I feel like I don't have the jitteriness that I do when I'm talking to somebody. That anxiety, the stress, the buildup in the throat, the cotton mouth, the heart beating fast. But yeah, when I take my Repenerol.
Requip. That's what you was talking about.
So that's what it is.
FDA approved for RLS, restless leg.
Yeah. So that's one of them. And then Ativan or lorazepam is what the actual medicine.
Dopamine antagonist.
Where's that at?
No, look, you may have to look it up because it's probably not going to be.
Can you type it in for us real quick?
Ativan.
What's up here?
Ativan.
It's a benzo.
It's benzo. Interesting. Yeah. So, a mood stabilizer. Do you take any SSRIs?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not 100% sure.
An SSRI is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. And the reason why that's important to me is because there's a few people I know that take those. And they're important to me that you find a way off of them.
Well, so that's my whole goal with the cannabis right now is I'm going to the doctor regularly, but my next visit, this next coming visit, I'm getting every lab done that I can get. I'm getting tests done on everything I can get tests ran on because I want to see if, let's say, my mom has had something or my mom's dad has had something, which he had stomach ulcers and died from stomach ulcers.
Wow.
So if I happen to have anything kind of brought down that I don't know currently, and what I currently do know, and then after those results, I'll find more out. But I'll be able to better, help myself find the correct diagnosis, the correct cannabinoid route I want to take.
Are you willing to, as you receive this information, get it from your doctor on paper and bring it here in some notes? Maybe get it.
I wouldn't
get that information. Bring it here so that way next time you come on the podcast,
We can a picture somewhere on my phone of what my diagnosis stuff was before the manic depressive bipolar.
That would be cool to look at too, because we could track the history of your growth over the course of the history of the podcast, and it'll allow people to come back and look and be like, "Wow, I'm dealing with some of these issues too, and he did this." And by the time that they'll go back and look at this podcast, by the time they go back and look at this one, after seeing us in the future, have what?
Again?
Bless you. I don't know if that's a sneeze or cough.
I think it was a cough. Clear on the throat, maybe.
But a couple years from now, people are going to see where you're at in the future and see the progress you made, and then they're going to come back to this one, and they're going to realize that there's a lot of knowledge there that they can use, even if they're not dealing with what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You will have information out there.
Yeah.
That will draw people to this.
My personal intake, I try to intake as much as I can with the stuff that I'm given. But with, of course, being a man, you got like selective hearing and selective thought process where you really like don't want to think about something, but then like somebody happens to say something that triggers your brain to be like, oh man.
Starts ruminating.
So I want to get to the point where cannabis isn't just used for a medicine, but I want to bring that medicine home to be able to seriously know every single thing about it, what you are intaking before, anything happens.
Using it almost surgically.
Yeah,
you can
with
know
precision.
Yes.
So that being said, when I am helping myself, I want to help others. So making this Cannabis Classroom app have a cannabinoid explorer and a terpene explorer where it breaks down what the cannabinoids do and what the terpenes do with our body and what they're found in naturally. Like, seriously, we can isolate certain different things and we can help heal people.
And the strain encyclopedia?
The strain encyclopedia it's still a work in progress, but it's got 12,000 and then some different strains with COA lab result. If you want to know what main terpene profiles are in that strain, what main cannabinoids are in that strain. So let's say you're out and about, or if you are getting ready to go out and you'll purchase your medicine or whatever from the dispensary, that you'll already have a game plan on what you're looking for, how you can actually dose yourself without any repercussions, without anxiety attacks, paranoia, without you've never heard of a cannabis consumer overdosing.
Nope.
But yet Big Alcohol just announced, or somebody announced, that scromining is now a thing with cannabis.
I'm glad you brought that up. I've been thinking about this in my head, and I wanted to get into that earlier. Scromining.
Yeah, screaming and vomiting.
Screaming and vomiting, yes. It makes it sound pretty terrifying. And then when you
Yeah, sound terrifying.
Yeah,
that's what it's supposed to do.
When I looked it up, too, Sweet Pea, can you look up what is scromining and is it real? Right there, anywhere on it. Yeah,
it'll probably go right next to CHS.
What's that?
Cannabis hyper.
Yeah, no, I think that. Yeah, I think.
But it's just can't hear shit. CHS.
No.
So I say this because the people that are saying these negative things or anything negative about this cannabis plant, seriously.
What is scromining? You've got it right. And is it real?
And I think, like I said, CHS, I think it can't hear shit. They can't hear the benefits of this cannabis plant overtaking their industry. Now, it's either going to...
What industry?
Whatever it may be. I think it
can make a great clothing.
I wholeheartedly believe that that cannabis sativa L, however you want to word it, hemp, marijuana, cannabis, doja, ganja, whatever the words may be, it can be used for so many different things, and we could be talking about industrial, build houses with it.
I've seen people use flame retardant. They can make flame retardant material for housing. Yeah.
Yes, and it's so they can also make it mold resistant and termite resistant. So that way you have no fears and worries about your house, getting damaged or whatever, 50, 60 years down the line with termite damage, or even sooner with newer houses. You never know what they're actually built with.
Right.
All this compressed fiber and wood, they say, is probably not what they say. It's the same thing as what they're putting in our food. You can't really know for sure. Same thing with our pharmaceuticals. Everything now is lab done. Now let's say this cannabis plant is lab done, but we're going to be more scientific with it rather than create our own. We're going to just break down and understand this plant, what it has to offer, every single value about it. I mentioned industrial, but pharmaceutical, it will destroy pharmaceutical. With
the alcohol lobby?
With alcohol, it caused this.
We're getting at historical lows.
It says, scromining is real.
Albeit in formal medical term, it's a portmanteau of screaming and vomiting. Primary cause, it is almost exclusively associated with cannabinoid hypermesis syndrome, like you were saying, CHS. CHS is a condition that can develop in long-term heavy users of cannabis. Are you a long-term heavy user of cannabis, James?
I don't want to incriminate myself, but I would say since I was probably about 14 years old, and I don't
roughly the same for me, actually. I don't want to incriminate myself here either, but at the same time,
I don't think that I have ever encountered a time where I were to scream and throw up when I got done consuming weed. Now I can take a really fucking fat dab and cough my ass off and possibly throw up. But that's different. That's different.
Yes.
That is not scromiting.
No.
So
we're talking about like a stomach pain too. It's like so painful that you scream.
Now check this out.
And then you start vomiting.
I may
maybe I
have no, you're correct. I may have already encountered the scromiting in my previous life.
In your previous life?
So earlier when I told you that I've got Barrett's esophagus. So my esophagus lining is super thin, that it only got this way from constant vomiting. So I apologize. But the only reason I was getting sick was because I was drinking. I was drinking heavily alcohol.
Right.
I'm not going to say names because I don't want to name drop any alcohol companies or nothing, get sued for something I'd say. But it had a lot to do with the consumption of alcohol, not the consumption of cannabis.
I've heard that it was the mixture of the two, too. That it could be, like how it could be misconstrued easily is that you're smoking alcohol, you're drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana, and somehow in the mix there, you're going to throw up because of alcohol.
Yes, and we used to just call that getting crossfaded.
Yes. Which just makes me go to sleep.
Exactly. And so what's really crazy about this scromiting thing is, since I have understood and known that, let's just say this, weed gets you high. Okay? Since I knew that at 14 years old, that I knew that this was an anti-nausea plant. Cannabinoids, THC and CBD too is anti-nausea. You actually can take gummies when you have, let's say you've got cancer. Cancer patients go in for chemo and they get extremely sick and stuff during or after.
Some of them get prescribed
THC and CBD for nausea and vomiting. So how can cannabis cause scromiting if cannabis is
being used?
And being studied and medically treated. I mean, we have medical cards and patients out here now that have real life comeback stories from being a two-time cancer survivor and not having, the power to get through what they got through without this plant, without doing everything the doctor said not to do. When the doctor puts more medication, more pills and stuff in that body, that's your body is going to reject the majority of it.
Mm-hmm. That's why they always have to go through this process of trying different doses.
Trial and error. And that's why when I was growing up and on this ADHD medicine, that I was on the slew of them. I was on every single one of them before I turned 18 and decided myself that I didn't need this. I don't need a medication to tell me when I can and can't focus on something.
See, I felt very similarly when I got out of that place. That I don't remember the place that I got put into, and I was only there for 7 days, but it felt like weeks. Every day felt like a week, and but they prescribed what?
Same with jail.
I went to jail for a day, for one night actually. But anyway, so I went into this place.
A week is too much.
No, dude, there's no clock, dude. Being in there just one night, I felt like I was literally in limbo.
But I wouldn't have known what to do on the inside if it wasn't for QP though. Dude did 18 months back in the day as a youngin'.
Gave you a good preface.
He gave me a roundabout idea on at least what to look out for, what to do, what not to do.
What to be wearing.
Just what it is, And that was
here's what to expect.
His thing is, or was, it is what it is. And regardless, he knows this. QP has taught me more than he knows. So I seem like I'm well put together and I'm educated and everything, but I grew up like I didn't belong. Like seriously, I lived in a country podunk town with seriously, yards between me and the neighbor. Okay, but I was choosing to go and hang out and spend every moment of my life with my best friend in Gymtown.
QP.
Yeah, and do the craziest shit. We were two wild and crazy guys. But seriously, like, we thought it was wild that we smoked 3 different kinds of weed before noon.
I mean,
that's pretty impressive.
That would have blown me.
Nowadays, man, that thing right there probably has 3 different kinds in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
right? No, they've got advanced.
But it's advanced, but you also don't completely know entirely what's in your product. That's where we get back to bringing your medicine home. Mm-hmm. Let's bring this plant home. Let's make it so we can cultivate our own medicine and dose ourselves, free and
the way we see fit.
Correct. And now, if they want to have their hand in the cookie jar and whatever they want,
profits and such,
make it with taxes and licenses and stuff, but make it accessible for the people.
Give us the pathway.
Yes, exactly. Well, there's already a pathway, but right now what the government thinks is there's this avenue that they have, or the cannabis industry has, and they have blocked this off, they thought, with the 2018 Farm Bill. With the Farm Bill came a loophole. It was just a workaround, a wording error on the government part. So when they classified anything, below 0.3% Delta-9 THC,
heard about that.
It actually classified the product as hemp and not marijuana, as they put it in the Farm Bill. So let's say you go to a dispensary. Okay, more than likely your product has a label on it. Okay, for regulation reasons, but that label tells you that there is less than 0.3% delta 9 THC in this product. Well, if the dispensaries are selling the same thing and the gas stations are, why don't I just get it from the gas station and not pay the 30% sales tax?
Mhm.
So that's what they're in the process of doing right now, is reclassify, reword this farm bill industry issue. And they're trying to get just another hand in the cookie jar, basically. But
I mean, to some degree, I feel like as long as they can't, as long as they don't like overregulate or abuse it, let them earn a little money. I don't care. That's like we're in America, right?
I personally am now. I've said this from the get go when I started Seed and Supply and everything and Cannabis Classroom. I'm not in it for a dime. I never expect to get paid.
You
I
are
still
doing
have
something you love.
I'm passionate about it. And regardless if I clock in or clock out for the day, I still get to do what I love every single day. And when when this regulation whatever they're trying to do, reclassification, if it's able to open up an avenue where scientists and medical, pharmaceutical, personnel are able to look at and break apart and isolate and help with our day-to-day life, I'm more than happy to benefit on that side.
Right.
I could care less about the profits, what the government makes on it, what anybody makes on it.
As long as we could get that stuff out there to people.
I want the information, to be known. I whether it's just the information that's known or whether it's actually taken into action. And pharmaceutical companies come to realize that instead of getting destroyed by this one industry, why not buy into this industry?
Can't beat them.
Join them.
Well, I think also I want to jump back to what you said earlier about being prescribed a pill that I think you said you didn't want to take. You're like, I know I don't need to take this or something like that. That reminded me, because when I got out of the place that I was in, during the time that I was there, they prescribed me a pill. And of course, you had to go to this window and take it. You had to line up and take your pill.
Take your little cup.
Yep, it was in a cup. Yep, a little plastic cup.
So,
and
jail treated me a similar way.
But it was... So I had to take the pill for a time, and I noticed that I started to develop a stutter. And when I got home, they had a bottle of pills for me to take home. And, while I was there, obviously, I gave them none of the real correct information, like, how are you doing today? Every single morning.
Yeah.
And I told them I was like, I think out of 7. I think I put 7 every single time.
Every single time.
Because I was going to be there for 7 days. And so I was just trying to get...
It had a play on inside your own brain that you're going to play a game.
I was just trying to get through it, too.
Yeah.
Like,
you're trying to just survive, and this thing right here, they're asking me, or whatever it is, it's pointless.
So, get me through it. And so when I got home, and, I still had those pills, I immediately stopped taking them. And I remember my dad would at some point start asking me in the mornings, or maybe it was the evening, did you take your pill this morning?
Did you take your medicine?
And I said, yes.
I got asked that all the time.
And then at some point, obviously, he let me know he had been counting pills. But and he's like, why didn't you just tell me? And I don't remember what I said. But obviously,
my parents were ever smart enough to count my pills, but I was always asked by not just my parents, but it was cousins. Like, let's say we go to a family get together, and my mind's racing because of the day of, like, let's say Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I forget to take my medication. Well, later on in the day, I'm out, playing with my cousins, whatever, and then an outburst happens where my cousins are even like, "Did you take your medicine today?" No, I did not. I can see that now. Thank you for notifying and letting me know something's going on. after multiple times, my brain's like, bro, something's going on and you need to do something about it. Otherwise, you're going to continue taking these medications. You're going to continue staying on a fixed path.
You're going to have a break one day,
and it's going to end. And I found my break where I don't think that I'll knock on wood, wherever, I hope that I don't have something as significant. But the world turns, and that break was sending me to jail and me spending the week in jail. And for the first few days, I was on suicide watch, where I was stripped of everything.
Did you get to take any of your pills?
No. So they did not give me anything for 3 days while I was in this suicide watch, where, like I said, they stripped me of everything: clothes, shoes, socks, everything, naked.
Mm-hmm. Put you in an orange jumpsuit?
No, they leave you naked and they give you this thick ass blanket wannabe. No, this blanket you couldn't roll up. And if you rolled it up, this roll would be like this big, and you couldn't wrap it to, like, the blanket wasn't long enough to go around like your neck or nothing. It was, they called it the turtle shell, because literally that's all it was. You threw it on your back and you huddled on the concrete bench, and it's the turtle shell that you got.
That's fucked.
So,
that reminds me of, again, the place there.
3 days of in a cell with
The turtle shell.
and other guys. I'm not alone. They put you.
Do they at least have their own turtle shell? Don't tell me.
Yes, everybody has their own turtle shell. But of course, you got the decency not to look. You know, if I'm personally not interested in the male form like that. So, like, personally, I'm not looking. If somebody's having a conversation with me, I'm gonna have eye contact with them, more than likely, or I look at the mouth when they're speaking or whatever. But
can you lock on to both eyes at the same time?
No, it's either one or the other.
Me too, dude.
But growing up, my mom taught me how to go like with my eyes real fast,
like vibrate them.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I don't know. Like,
can you do it right now?
Can you see it? So I don't know if the camera would be able to pick it up if I got close enough.
It's like a shimmy.
It is. So that's basically all it is. It's the eye shake. And
you did that to me while I was on there to do something like that. I'd be like, oh, dude, stop it.
But this is man. So yeah, jail. That they have you in a cell with, I bet it was 6 to 8 other people, and all naked, and just the turtle shell.
Make a friend in there?
Miles.
Do you still know him, or is this just a purely...
This was a guy that I just met inside while I was doing the suicide watch. Like I said, it was either 2 to 3 days, but they had a psychiatrist come and assess me. So they walked me out of the cell and they sat me at the mezzanine, like right outside the door. Was like the railing system and like a walkway, second level. And when I sat down on the seat or whatever, and talking to the psychiatrist and the doctor, whatever, and I'm telling them I'm having a great day. I just need to be on, this medication and this medication, and I'm currently off, and I'm experiencing withdrawals. So at the time, I was on benzos, and when you're withdrawing from benzos, it is not a pleasant time.
Describe that for me. Describe withdrawing from a benzodiazepine.
A normal withdrawal symptom, if you were to do any kind of, let's say, heroin, if you were to just stop cold turkey, or coke or anything, if you just stop cold turkey, you will have withdrawals. You will have sweats, heat sweats. You will have the shits, like the runs. You will have, and I'm in jail at this time. So,
is there a toilet?
Check. Yeah, but it's a community toilet. You know what I mean? Like, still
just one toilet, probably.
Yeah, yes, metal toilet. 6 to 8 guys in this suicide watch. So after I got assessed, They said I was fit to go to general population. So when I got placed, I was in a cell, and I can remember my cell number, M1A2.
M1A2.
So it was when you walk in.
That's going to be a t-shirt.
When you
Can I make
walk,
that into a t-shirt?
So when we walk in, it was like there's a giant empty courtyard with some picnic tables, but it's all indoors. Okay, surrounding this courtyard is jail cells. You have a bottom layer and you've got a top layer. The top layer was where I was at, and it was like as soon as you'd walk in, you go up the stairs, you have to go turn around to go back towards the main door. I was like first cell. I was in there with 10 other guys
In one cell?
with 8 beds. So 4 bunks. So you had 4 bunks. So a set of 2 beds, set of 2 beds, set of 2 beds, and then out this way was a set of 2 beds. 8 beds, 10 people. How does this work out?
A couple people had to share a bed.
No.
A couple of people slept on the floor.
So I'm getting out the jail. Vanderburgh County Correctional will give you what they call a boat. So it is literally that. It is a plastic boat that you could literally float on water, like a boat.
Mhm.
So you have an option to have this boat and lay inside the boat, where they gave you this shit ass piece, wannabe mattress that you could lay down, and a thin ass blanket that they want to call a blanket. So, and a pillow. So your pillow is about the same size too.
Mm.
But they give you a boat, and you can sleep either inside the boat, or you can flip the boat over up on upside down.
Is it curved?
No, the boat is flat on the bottom of it. So if you were to flip it upside down,
They give you an elevated surface.
You have an elevated flat surface, and that's how I slept. There was another guy there, Johnny. Dude literally just got out and went back not too long ago. Seen his mugshot on Vanderburgh County Mugshots. Anywho, he was the other guy in the boat and had been there for quite some time. He chose to stay in the boat to have the newbies get the bunks, and he wanted his goal in there. And then what I looked at was, I'm going to steer you from trying to come back here. He gave me books to read. He recited fucking Bible verses that he would want me to try to keep at heart and remember.
And he's just now back in there? Like,
when he was in, he was in for a while, and then I got in, and he got out after I got out, but just went in relatively recently, like within the past couple weeks. I saw his mugshot on the Vanderburgh County mugshot.
That's interesting. So at that person's time in his life,
he wanted to better other people's life from coming into jail again.
And he happened to hit you up.
Yeah. Now, I talked with Johnny, and what was crazy is I had a cousin named Johnny, and Jonathan Fender. He died in Iraq when he was 22 years old. And when I was 15, 16 years old. So I always looked up to my older cousin and that group, because I was like next in line in that age group. Okay. So my family's so large, we've got age group cliques with cousins. So I swear. So like you'll have teens and 20s that are almost in a clique. You know, they understand each other. They go to school similar times, and they understand. Then you've got the 25 to 40-year-old cousins that are all in a clique that my family has
Age
just
groups.
Yes. So I've got cousins that were in that next age group that I looked up to. My cousin Jonathan and my cousin Jason and a couple others were a few that I looked up to. And when my cousin Jonathan went to Iraq, in Kabul, Afghanistan, is where he passed. He was actually filling in for one of his guys on his troop or whatever that got he got the privilege to go home because his wife was having a baby. So my cousin filled his spot on top of a tank as a gunner.
And he died?
They run over an IED while traveling through one of the small towns, and the tank flipped. It killed him immediately, and there wasn't much. But I mean, I put respect in everything that he had, because that took more gut to even just sign a paper to enlist than I've ever got. You know, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that either.
I support those who have and those who do.
Those are true warriors. Those are people who probably through lifetimes have been a warrior.
I'm very proud to say that I've had quite a few, soldiers / warriors in my family. I will never be one. I will never be that level. That's a whole.
It's an aspiration.
Yeah.
I aspire myself to like reflect that level of masculinity and like heroism. I haven't had a trip like this before, but I have had, after my many months of beginner DMT usage long ago, my mind has gotten much more creative, and I have strange visual imagery come to me at the most random times. My brother just recently has announced that he's pregnant, and the week yeah, and the week the week within that week before he called me and let me know, I had one day while I was working, I had this visual, vivid imagery, very dreamlike. While I was working, I just thought my brain was firing off.
Okay.
And I saw a baby with an umbilical cord in this pink space with 50 shades of pink, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it was laughing. And I heard this very clear laughter. And I just, like I said, I thought my brain was just firing off and imagination going wild. And I was like, this is crazy and this is cool. And I like it. I don't know what this is about. This is cool. And then a couple days later, maybe 3 days later, my brother calls me and tells me he's having a baby. And so I don't know where I was going with that. But what were you just talking about?
Aspirations,
yeah. So I've had every now and then I'll think about something, and you know how you can picture an image in your head. You can picture an apple, 3D, spin it around. You've got a decent imagination to do that. Some people can't do that. Some people can't do that. Now, anyway, I thought about past lives once, and I was thinking about how I feel like there is something within me that wants to be a hero. That has always wanted to be a hero. Okay. That doesn't necessarily mean a warrior, but that doesn't mean I haven't been one.
And correct. And being that hero could mean so many different things too. So you could be a hero to an animal being, let's say you adopted this cat at one time, and
I abducted that cat.
You're its hero now. Its life wouldn't be the way it is,
It would be different. It would be eating these really horrible sawdust pebbles that the seniors are giving out of the nursing home. Yeah, and he'd be going blind probably right now.
Yeah. If he was still alive.
Yeah, who knows? He probably would have got hit by a car. Regardless.
Yeah.
But I do agree. I see what you mean.
Hero in any term can mean a lot of things, but feeling that yourself, not just having somebody else feel that way about you, is two completely different things. So, like when I say I feel like I may be a hero with, I don't know. Let's say, I give information about the cannabis plant or whatever it may be in my my personal life or my work life, whatever, and I give this information that somebody may know, may not know, and I give this out, and it kind of like latches onto their brain where they now have this knowledge.
May not be relevant.
that they can then share with another individual.
Right.
I want not just everything that I know to be out, but I want everybody else to help everybody else.
Mhm.
You know, like I feel better when I watch somebody else succeed rather than watching myself succeed.
I feel that way in particular about one friend of mine. He may very well be the next podcast guest. And I'll go ahead and say his name now.
Go ahead.
Skyler Holmes Barber. He is a fantastic motherfucker. I can't wait to have you on.
Okay.
And
I'll have to meet him sometime.
I'm very certain that he's going to be. I'm just trying my best to make sure he's the next one on here because I wanted him to be first. Things just didn't happen that way. You and I talked, and we wanted to get this out before the end of the year.
Yeah,
and we needed it to happen.
There's we've jumped from topic and topic and topic, but there's been a lot that's happened in this year. You know what I mean? That I kind of needed to get out with the world. You know, like this is
Put your face out there.
yeah. This is my first, like I said, my first interview outside of a job.
I guess you could say this is a public appearance.
Yeah, yeah. And in my brain, I don't see myself as this person, but I have had people tell me that with as much information and stupid shit and smart shit that I happen to just spew out, that I should start some kind of a class or a page or community where, you know, like-minded individuals can communicate, that we can open up and share. Let's keep it cultivation. Let's keep cannabis. I want to learn everybody's grow method so that way I can not just implement it with myself and my own grow method, but that way I can offer other grow methods to other people that may have not heard of any, such thing.
Do people have a way to connect in a community type manner through your app or website? Because if you could implement some type of community aspect where people can chime in with their own, like, hey, like I took your advice, this worked, this didn't work, and I did this.
With every post on the Cannabis Classroom Facebook page, anybody and everybody is more than welcome to comment, share, post pictures, whatever they want. With the Cannabis Classroom app, web app that I've got, I have a discussion forum where anybody who is registered for the app, and you have to register because I want it to be age appropriate. So all you do is you fill out, name, date of birth, and you get to pick your username. So whatever you want to call yourself, but put your email address, make your own password, individualize it for you. But that discussion is open to the public. So when you post in that discussion forum, that everybody registered with the app gets that notification, or they get to reply, or just like and follow along with, somebody else's
certain conversations.
Yeah. And
that's kind of how I did with Reddit. Whenever I wanted to figure out how to do some particular things, I found a community that was talking about it.
So with not just the discussion forum, I had to add an extra little aspect. So I added a photo studio. So if one wants to post pictures of any part of their process, of anything that they are doing within their cannabis life, cannabis world, that they can post on this photo studio, and they can label it whatever. I have tons of categories, topics. A lot of people that I've got going on right now that are posting in the photo studio are posting mid-veg, so with no buds, no nothing. So it's just leaves, asking questions about their possible plant deficiencies, or why is it turning a certain color, or why does it smell a certain way? What does that happen? So they take pictures and have other people within the app, analyze it and chime in if they want or know any information. I want that to be out there. I want it to be freely talked about without being looked at like we're the black sheep. Even the black sheep can become the goat.
I personally love underdog stories. That's why I feel like, that's why I want Skylar on here, is because he's got an underdog story.
Yeah.
I don't want to say lightly, but it seems like you've had an underdog story. Seems like you've been in some depths of the deep and more than just a toe in.
Well,
And you've had these weird things happen to you where you've suddenly turned it around. You've pulled a 180 off.
yeah, and I mean, in all aspects, and really like everything growing up, every stage of my life, it felt like there was something that was a bullet point, a milestone set there that I can always go back as a reference point of where I can no longer remember what had happened before that unless it was another major bullet point or whatever. That way I can help better myself in the future or anybody else that may, come in contact with me that, wants advice from anything that I can offer, So,
Right. Like, for example, if you're working at Subway and someone reaches out to you and they say, we've got banana bread, and you're really high, you just got super stoned, don't go and get the banana bread, especially if your car has a bulge in the tire. And
what?
yeah,
Yeah, this
is how I went to jail.
Okay, let's get on that topic.
And that was pretty much it. Like, I just got super high and got a text in the group chat for the Subway group chat, and they were like, "Hey, we've got banana bread," and I was like, "I want some fucking banana bread." So I took off in my fiance's vehicle, and it's got a bulge in the tire, so it was going.
It wasn't a bulge.
There was a bulge in the tire. It was that too, but there was a bulge in the tire. That's why I was driving slow. I was driving maybe 35 miles an hour and a 55 when a cop pulled up behind me and said he thought that I was a grandma.
So
And
they may pull you over even if you're going underneath the speed limit.
No.
You got something going on.
No, yeah.
What's going on?
He pulled the little test. He's like, come out here and walk like this or whatever. And of course, I was stepping over my own feet. It was cold as fuck outside. I was shaking, and then I was high.
Excuse in the book.
Yeah, I was high. So he's like he just walked me right into cuffing myself essentially.
But you only landed there because of the state that you currently reside in. So 30 plus other states, that's more than 50% of the United States, have legalized why you went to jail.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was only there for the night, and they did. It was actually a very fortunate situation that I know it wasn't fortunate that this particular thing happened, but someone they like pulled me in there. They like ran me through the system and all that, and I did the fingerprints and they took all my stuff and put me in an orange jumpsuit, and they put me in the drunk tank, and I was by myself.
Okay.
And they only had me there for the night because my parents had me, and she was there the next morning.
I am
at like 5 in the morning.
They went through the trouble of putting you in the jumpsuit with how, let's say, overnighters usually run with, let's say you get a DUI or something, you just can do an overnighter in jail. They don't even put you in an orange jumpsuit. They will just throw you in the drunk tank with this cell is loaded, like person, because those people are only there for a very short period of time, a few hours, if that. Some of them get out within a few minutes, somebody already outside calling or, putting money on their books to get them out, whatever it may be. They don't usually put that much effort into putting them in the jumpsuits. I'm surprised they did.
I think they just wanted to scare me a little bit. And they also they also were like,
did you happen to have anything on you?
No, I had zilch, but my car was.
I drove home the car.
Yeah, it was a very interesting situation. She didn't have you didn't have a license, did you? And they had her take the car home.
Because I was 25 minutes down from the house.
We just left, And
They
anyway,
happen to like follow you home to make sure you make it.
she all the way into the
Watched me
driveway.
walk in,
Yep.
watch me lock the door, watch me turn on
And
the
that
lights.
that's
turn
probably
them
because you
off,
didn't have the
whatever.
license, and if they were to happen to let you go and then you get pulled over again, that license you're not licensed as an ID driver's license, but like the license plate on the back has been just pulled over. So that car has been pulled over twice, and now it's under a certain time limit with a different owner. Now multiple people getting hit with multiple charges.
That's fucked. But yeah,
Simple something can be, but I mean, how the government can take and twist things, you know, and just to
supposed to be public servants.
exactly. Well, servant to be able to escort you home, but to what extent? You know, did they really do their due diligence?
She made a good call too. This was like minutes before they pulled me out of the car, and then they searched her, and then we were just permanently separated for the rest of the night. She was like, "I need your mom's phone number."
Yeah.
And it was just out of nowhere, out of the blue. We were sitting in silence, and she's like, "I think I need your mom's phone number." And I gave it to her, and she got home. She called my mom immediately,
and
they were waiting for me the next morning. But yeah, they said some stuff something that had recently happened. Some girl had been hit by a person at a work truck, and I actually know the person personally. He helped me work on the Jeep that I had at the time a few times, and he instilled some like, you can do this yourself kind of knowledge,
right?
And which has got me working on my own vehicle. But regardless, this person hit a girl, and she died, but they brought that up because it had happened very recently, and they're like, you don't want to be,
you don't realize how close this hits home, but it actually hits home a lot closer than the cop thought.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. He didn't know that. Yeah, he didn't know that
exactly.
this guy. And but yeah, I was like, I understand. You won't catch me doing this again, and it did, that never happened.
And how a lot of law enforcement words things when they talk to you, it's almost So not just sneaky, they will talk you right into you admitting what you're doing.
Oh, I have a perfect example of that. Even though I wasn't doing anything wrong, I took her brother to work one day, and then I had to take his car because I didn't have a working vehicle at the time. I had to take his car, drop him off at work, and then go to my work. And a cop pulled me over because his tags were expired. And so obviously I didn't know this, and that wasn't a big deal to them, but they did have to tow it. And so I just was like, okay, that sucks, but that's fine. I'll have to call work and let them know I won't be there and things like that. But then they kept trying to search my bag, and they were very careful about the way that they talked. But they were like, they kept talking in a way that implied I couldn't leave out unless they searched my stuff. Correct. And I was like, I didn't say this, but I knew you have no reason to search my stuff. It's just his tags are expired. Correct. I've not done anything wrong.
Probable cause.
And I was like, so I kept saying, I just need to get my bag out of there and I can go because I know y'all are towing the car and all that stuff, and I'm good to go. And they're like, yeah. And he pulls the bag out for me. I can't touch it. He won't let me touch the car anymore. So he pulls the bag out and he's like, I need to search this. And I was like, and the way that they said it was like, kind of like they were going to give me a ride, but in order to get in their vehicle, they need to search my stuff. And I was like, first of all, I had not stated that I wanted a ride, and I didn't need one because Joseph, the brother, her brother, was right down the road. Yeah. I was going to go tell him, and I was just going to start walking. I've walked before. I've walked long distances. Same. Yeah. I've biked 20 miles before to get to work. I will do what it takes. I walk. Okay. I'll be fine. I'm not getting in the cop car. Right. But he said he kept trying to word he kept trying to verbally lead me in the direction of searching my things. Yeah. And there was absolutely no reason for that. And it got to a point where I literally was just like, I do not consent to searches or seizures. And if I don't need to get in your vehicle, I'm just going to walk down the road and go tell my buddy that his car's being towed. And they handed me my bag. But before they handed me my bag, the dude that was holding my bag said, that's weird. And he looked at his partner, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Can I have my bag, please? And he hands me my bag, and I start walking.
Yeah. They will talk their way for you to be backed up into a corner.
Mhm.
And where
Got any sharps?
so basically,
Hey, I have a pocket knife.
so check this out. So now in the state of Illinois, at least, probable cause used to be like you get pulled over for let's say your taillight's out, okay, and you get pulled over, and the cop says, you know why I pulled you over? You got a taillight out, license, registration, read your stuff, comes back to you, and then they say that I happen to smell the presence or the odor of marijuana. That is probable cause,
Mhm.
or used to be. Now, in the state of Illinois, they cannot do that. They cannot search your vehicle because of the odor of marijuana in the car. Because I'm going to say there's more people in my town alone that probably work at a cultivation facility or a dispensary, and their car reeks, their clothes reek, regardless, they reek 24/7. Now, when you get pulled over, that stink is on you.
Mm-hmm.
The cop can't say, I smell weed, and I
Because it's everywhere.
It's everywhere now. So hopefully, with the remaining states that are left on red, basically, they hopefully they'll come to terms where, check this out, one state in general is getting no money, but another state is getting money from another state, and we're talking billions. Okay? So why wouldn't that one state do something to, in turn, make those billions instead of having their residents go elsewhere?
That is curious.
Because, let's say the so-called state has another operational industry in the state.
Wait, are you saying that they put people away for weed? Because
No,
it would be pretty fucked up if your residents go to another state to get weed just to come back home to get arrested because the prison's going to make a lot of money from...
everything. So let's say this rescheduling thing goes through, and it's now federally rescheduled to look at, like, this has medicinal properties and enough. We have enough details and evidence to do more research. Okay, so if let's say it's federally legal now or regulated, and the states that still don't want to abide by those federal regulations, somebody as a left in red state can get pulled over for said product and more than likely ask for a federal officer.
Oh.
The federal officer will supersede that state and you will be let go. How fucked is the government if we can do stuff like that in different states, but not all over the country?
Federally, there's a lot of problems federally. It's very weird to me that like marijuana can be legal in states, but federally
2 hours
illegal.
and 40 minutes. Okay.
Nice.
So making good time. So, let's say
If you need to go at any point, let me know.
I'm cool.
Yeah, we'll start
They've been in bed for an hour and a half.
Cool.
Let's say I live in an illegal state and I get caught with cannabis and it is now rescheduled at a federal level. Okay. In Indiana, the state laws still, prohibit cannabis and products of that kind. But if they were to reschedule it and Indiana keep their laws exactly how it's set out, if you were to get pulled over in Indiana, more than likely you can ask that officer for a federal officer, and more than likely their body cams are on, being recorded. You ask for that, they have to give it. They disregard and they disobey. You can ask for, their higher up, their supervisor, whatever. And again, I want a federal officer. I want a federal person to assess this situation. The state does not deserve this at this point in time.
And you think that would be
I
really helpful in a situation like that?
maybe not helpful, but I could see more states wanting to legalize and regulate better.
Then criminalize.
Yeah, than criminalize, or even just decriminalizing. Like, just because you decriminalize something doesn't mean it's not legal. It's not illegal. It's still fucking illegal. You still cannot possess this certain amount, or can't have it within these guidelines, or whatever. It's still illegal. Now, you put it on a whole nother scale. Like I said, federally, you put it on another scale. That opens banks up for places like the Smoke and Bong and other places to do real legitimate business, because we as a cannabis industry are in a field where we get looked at still like drug dealers. All our money's dirty. We don't want this and this and this. We will pay whoever we need to, whenever we need to give the people the medicine that they need. This plant has been known for 5,000 years. China, 5,000 years ago, was burying cannabis with their shamans in temples. So recently they discovered this shaman with big clay pots with cannabis inside. They have tested that cannabis, and we've always thought that if they were shamans and monks and stuff, that they were using this plant for medicinal purposes, that they were doing more healing than anything else.
Have you heard of chanja? Maybe it's changa.
Maybe changa.
It's flour that is mixed with DMT.
So we'll get to that. So when they found this shaman in this temple with the clay pots, nowadays we are able to test things, like I said, the COA, to pull up, cannabinoids, terpenes, everything inside this. They tested this cannabis that was in this clay pot and found to have a higher THC cannabinoid content than it did a CBD cannabinoid content. Now, THC is psychoactive, gives you the high. CBD is more medicinal. So if the shamans in 5,000 years ago were using cannabis with THC in it, they weren't originally using it for medicine. If they were using it for a psychoactive psychedelic purpose. Yeah. And basically transitioning into what you were saying. So you can have cannabinoids that bring on so much of that psychoactive that it can actually put you in your brain in a almost like you're on a psychedelic.
There was one time during high school when I bought weed from somebody, and the way that he gave it to me was, we were in class, and he's as the bell rings and we go to leave, and he drops a silver wallet on the ground, and he says, "Hey man, you dropped your wallet." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And I wasn't allowed to have that weed, obviously, and obviously when I got home, I would smoke weed, and then, if there was a smell of weed in the air, or if I lived high, I'm going to deny all that shit. You ever watch Die Every Wimpy Kid?
Yeah.
The Brother Roderick? Deny, deny, deny. I learned hard with that lesson, but I took it to heart for a while. I was like, it doesn't matter what anybody brings up against me, I'm going to deny it. And
visually, other people see things that you don't.
Oh, for sure.
Mentally.
Dude, I remember one time I went into this little lobby of the high school and whatnot, and there was like a vending machine and this big shelf and whatnot, and there was this little cubby hole between them. And I got into that cubby hole, and my two other little outcast friends were there, And I remember when I exited from the little cubby hole, I could smell the weed, the smell that had collected in that little corner. And I was like, I am not fooling anybody.
My go-to source that, or not source, my go-to information that I've always held within, where if you're always high, then they never know when you're not high or when you're high.
Yeah.
So
there was
stay high.
I think I may have adopted that idea at one point.
I don't think anybody knows me without like slanted eyes and bloodshot eyes.
So
So always smiling, talking.
If you can get it in the driver's license, you're gold.
Yeah, and I damn near did. But in Illinois, it was legal beagle, and I was like, oh man, what should I do? I just went in there and the normal. I just all presented stoned as a bone for that
That's
10 minutes or whatever. But it was like, yeah, you could literally do anything, and you could, if you get high, and let's say I've been getting high since I was 14, 15 years old. But if I stay high, even through schools, if conversations, whatever, people are not going to know that real sober and real high me. They're going to know this me, whatever
the current version,
whatever the me it is at that point in time. And hopefully, now that I've kind of progressed over this,
yeah,
with over the years and years that
you can still hear us, right?
I've been
Yeah, I know you're all cool. It's been pretty steady.
with everything that I have built on this cannabis thing. I really, really think that
we're going to need you to come in here and end the podcast, though. Okay, so just let me know.
Whenever's clever.
Whenever's clever.
Yeah.
We can keep going. Do you have? I know you got to get home at some point.
I am a 33-year-old man with a family that has been passed out since like 7:30.
All right, we'll keep going then. I'm fine, but I'm totally fine with. I want to say something too, real quick.
Yeah.
What were we just talking about? We were talking about before getting high all the time. Okay, yeah, no, the dude that dropped the wallet.
Yeah.
That weed. There was something different about that weed. I think that, or it was just that was the only time where I was like, obviously I couldn't have the weed on me, so when I got home, I smoked all of it as fast as possible.
It felt like you were doing something wrong. You got to get rid of the evidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I smoked all of it as fast as possible, and I got the highest I've ever been on herb. And I remember I was literally seeing rainbows. I was literally seeing it was all of my bed. I remember my dad came in and he told me that I needed to go clean the kitchen. And the way he said it was like, you got to get that kitchen, Bubby. And I could not stop seeing like a mixture of rainbows and this weird, stupid little repeat of him doing that. Stuck on a loop.
Oh,
me and Lance, this guy Lance, we were playing The Last of Us at the time. And I got him to start it, and I was like playing with him or something like that. And I got to a point where I was too high to do anything or even pay attention to him playing the game. And so I just laid back on the bed and stared up at the ceiling, and all I could see was the rainbows and my dad on repeat.
So, question: this was probably quite a bit of years ago.
So, a long time ago, yeah.
Knowing what we do now and what people can do to possibly alter a product, do you think that flower was altered in some way?
I think it was most certainly
manipulated.
I can't say for certain because I never tried to smoke that fast, but I had never had those effects before. So I do feel like it could have been laced.
Now, that is a good possibility, and I'll give you a good little thing.
But what?
No telling. So when I had my hands on some laced stuff, it was me and a buddy of mine that when I moved to Darmstadt, that was my go-to buddy. He lived 2 doors down from me. We'd get high, we'd do burnouts in parking lots and ride our bikes and skateboards around, like the normal best friend kid thing.
Mm-hmm.
That when I wasn't hanging out with Paul, getting high like that, I was with him doing the same thing, just with another person. Anywho, when I was with him at one instance, we got some weed from, I think it was a buddy of his that he knew. Now, when we got this, we rolled it in a joint, we sparked it, we started smoking. But I say, I took a rip, passed it to him, passed it back, I'm taking another rip, and as I pass it back, I notice that my lips are numb. Why are my lips going numb when I smoked weed all this fucking time? And I've never had anything like this happen, you know? So, of course, I'm noticed this, and I'm done. I hand it
You're
off
like,
to
I'm
him.
probably going to be high enough.
I'm good. So my mouth and my lips start going numb, and then I'm like, bro, I can't feel my bottom jaw. Like, it's numb. My neck and my jaw, it is numb right now. What the fuck did we just smoke? He goes, codeine.
What?
Bro, you knew this and didn't tell me? Well, I mean, I didn't know until I knew. I was like, you still didn't tell me. Man, now, I mean,
Smoked codeine
It
on
was-
weed?
yeah, so when you get done growing your weed, or maybe during, there are cultivators and growers out there that may give their plant chemicals or something to benefit, whether it be the plant or the consumer or the pockets of the grower.
Mm-hmm.
So when they go, and let's talk about K2 real quick.
I think I may have experienced K2.
I definitely have, and had seizures over it. So
Really?
we'll get on that. So K2, or Spice, or whatever we were calling it back then,
That's-
Candyman.
Spice is a street name for DMT.
So
It's interesting.
you may need to be careful with anything that you hear about Spice and it being known for DMT. When I knew of Spice and K2 and stuff, it was potpourri that was ground up, sprayed with a random chemical. That's what K2 and Spice was. That's what the synthetic weed was. It's just ground up potpourri sprayed with a chemical. Now,
So-
this chemical very similar matched the cannabinoid THC. Okay, so but the little alkaline tail that THC has, it actually has on the K2 Spice, whatever, had a little extra long tail. What that causes is it causes a more intense high, but for a shorter period of time. So when you do,
Yeah, that
like,
makes sense.
let's say when you do crack, coke, whatever, and you get stupid fucking quick, or like stupid high, immediate, like within seconds,
Mm-hmm.
but then your high is gone within 15 to 20, 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing with DMT.
Yeah.
So when certain things like that come into somebody's mind, and then they're like, we can do something with this. You're not supposed to do that with that.
Mm-hmm.
Weed is perfect how it is. Potpourri was perfect how it was.
I don't think
Smelling in good in bathrooms.
changa is necessarily weed, and that I think it's just like an herb you can smoke mixed with it.
Possibly. And it's the same thing with...
I've heard people do it with Blue Lotus, which is another psychedelic.
I have personally indulged in blue lotus flower, and dried blue lotus flower mixed with my personal flower is phenomenal.
Curious.
It also stretches your cannabis flower. So
Right.
when you're not putting as much,
It's extra material.
Yeah. So instead of 100% flour, you got 50 and 50,
Mm-hmm.
and your flour
Well, that's
is
twice as long.
exactly. So when I found out about dried lotus flower, blue lotus flower,
Mhm.
I ordered a few ounces of dried.
Amantara?
I don't remember.
That's the website I've been looking at.
I don't remember. I could probably pull it up in search history or some shit, but I ordered a couple ounces of this blue lotus flower, and at the time I had a pound of shake trim that I had been compiling. Okay. I had called it my forever flower. It was probably every flower substance cannabis that I had ever come in contact with within that time. I had ground up, added to this forever flower mix to make what we call a hybrid. Whether it be a hybrid or just a different breed of, strains, that this will get you high regardless. It has more than likely every cannabinoid that you can think of, and more than likely every terpene profile that you can think of. So
that sounds like,
and it's all at, of course, different levels, because you'll scoop and you'll do different things. But let's say this forever flower is mixed in with that blue lotus flower, and we already know what blue lotus flower does.
Did you have any interesting dreams on blue lotus flower?
I did. And what's weird is I haven't dreamt since I started smoking weed.
Well, I do hear a lot about that. I know when I took a couple tea breaks when I got up here in this area that that I started having some pretty crazy dreams. And I've here recently had some crazy dreams regardless of the weed. And a few very symbolic ones. Like I wake up from the dream and I'm like, that was only symbolism. That was only trying to tell me something. And I don't know what it was trying to tell me.
The one that I know that stands out with me and resonates quite a bit is it's me waking up in my parents' okay, so check this out. My parents' old house on Keck Avenue was a tiny little 2-bedroom house in Jimtown, and now Jimtown houses a lot of them are just shotgun. Basically, you walk in the front door, you can see the back door, and you can walk right out the back door. The house that I was living in wasn't set up like that. I don't know why I have this recurring dream, but it's me going down the basement of this house, and I have my mom and my dad sitting on the couch, but I don't know what we're doing. We used to go down there for storms, and just my parents would hang out down there when they had friends over. Like they'd trade. That's where they smoked weed. They'd go down to the basement and smoke weed back in the day. But it was a different experience. So when I started smoking weed, things started coming to me. So the smell of cannabis, I recognize that from my basement, from my dreams. Okay. I didn't know what it was until I was smoking it myself.
But you recognized it in the dream. And it was reoccurring?
Yes. Until I started heavily smoking, and I'm like, man, my parents were smoking weed in the basement, or somebody was.
Right.
Because that where else am I smelling this? Where
kind of like that.
Yeah. Like it, and certain things like that will bring up certain memories and shit. Like, I don't think that stoner brain mentality thing is entirely true. I think
it's another scrometing.
I think it's, yes, but I think our brains and body deserves certain things that we don't personally get on a daily basis, and cannabis may be my go-to thing. That CBG that I've been taking has been, I want to say, as close to rebuilding my brain as it can. I went from having, brain farts and stutter steps and talking to literally going to a university and having educational conversations like this, where I was a dropout high school student, got my GED a year later, and just to make my parents happy. Like I dropped out 2 days after my 18th birthday. Like my 18th birthday was Saturday. I had to wait until Monday to go in, fill out the paperwork, say, I'm of age, I'm done with this shit, I'm not gonna listen to it, I'm gonna go do what I want. At that point in time when I signed myself out, I didn't know what I was gonna do but hustle. I had to make some money. I had to do something to pass time. So I started selling weed. That's where QP comes into play.
Mhm.
So he became my best friend and my connect for the longest time. But when I started realizing that this may be more of a career path, I need to do something with it. My parents, first off, they really wanted me to get some kind of a diploma, a GED, whatever. So 3 months after I dropped out of high school, that my dad offered me a full-time job working for him, driving parts around town,
Mhm.
being a driver. I was making $10 an hour without a high school diploma. While the rest of my classmates were still in school. You know, I was making money; they were in school.
Mhm.
I had priorities a little mixed up, but I got my GED a year after I dropped out. Got certificate and everything. My parents surprised me at a friend's house and the whole nine. But when I realized that, man, I'm making more money selling weed than I am driving and doing day-to-day activities, like, and I'm not just selling weed just to get people high either. Like, I was selling people to, I'm a teenager, young 20-year-old selling to 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds that have been through like life and death situations that heal their issues. I, of course,
That probably makes you feel pretty good, doesn't it?
it felt really good, and I still want to do that today. But I want it more on a world base where, even if not world, nationally, where
Mhm.
this plant is more acceptable to talk about, to grow at home, to scientifically isolate and diagnose and help people. Like, this isn't just a fucking herb you get high on. This isn't hops that you get drunk on.
Mhm.
This is a plant that can do some serious beneficial, you know, stuff for not just physically, mentally and stuff, but industry wise. We talked about, like lumber, that shit's gonna get taken down when hemp regulates. And
You can make massive stalks.
let's just say in cultivation time, like time frame, let's say you grow an acre with trees. Like, let's say whatever is the fastest growing tree, fastest growing. Okay. And then,
Which is like usually a shitty tree. A shitty wood.
regardless, yeah. And you would have to take a bunch of them, still press them together or whatever to get exactly what you want out of it. When, let's say that process may take 10 years for one tree, but you've got a whole field. So you got 1 year or 10 years to do one field, 1 acre. In 10 years, hemp can do more than 10 harvests. And you could get, let's say, quadruple the amount of product that you would with trees that you can with hemp.
And there's numerous uses for hemp. I mean, not only just the fact that you can make paper or flame retardant stuff like we thought, you can make clothes.
Yeah.
You can. The bong sells clothes. I imagine some of it is made from hemp.
Yeah, they've got bracelets, necklaces, hats, clothes. They've got, I mean, down to the shirts and everything. But when it comes to like making it industrially, like you can literally do anything with this fucking thing.
I want to pivot because where you are coming from is from cannabis, and cannabis was there for me at the same times it was there for you. But what's different about my path, although it's not that
We
different,
probably had different views on it, but was looking at
well,
the same
certainly.
thing.
Well, it was marijuana.
Yeah.
But yeah, different views, different life experience, different environment. And one thing that I find very interesting is where the psychedelics come into the picture. You had a very recent psychedelic experience, and you said it was your first one, like
Yeah.
4 or 5 years.
Well, relatively recently. So yeah, like I said, a buddy of mine gave me some dried mushrooms that he grew.
Did you have another experience since then? Was there a stronger, higher dose after that?
Well, let's not say higher dose, but let's try another psychedelic. So when I got introduced to DMT,
I think you told me.
so some people I know went to Colorado where certain psychedelics are legal to a certain point, where you can utilize it for like PTSD and certain things to kind of reactivate brain or brain waves and neurons and shit. So when I got handed this DMT disposable, they went to a state where they're producing this stuff.
Yeah.
So he brings it back and he hands me this, and of course he asked me, do I want to try it? Of course, but I'm iffy. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. He's like walking me through it real quick, 15, 20 minutes, nothing crazy, but it may be pretty intense for the few minutes that it's going to happen. So I'm standing, and I probably should have been sitting or laying down. I was standing, and I had a countertop in front of me, but when I took the rip, it was, that's too much. I could already feel that there was something happening. Yes, waves rush over me before I could even think, this is too much. So
it was too late. By the time you exhaled, it was too late.
Yes. So that exhale,
it comes in behind.
So my world went quiet. The bricks on the walls were doing similar to the mushroom, where they're waving. But the colors that I'm seeing are beyond vibrant. I'm looking at, of course, a very colorful place of where I'm at, like a rainbow. But when I'm looking at this rainbow, like when you have stigmatisms and stuff and you've got this aura glow around it, that's what everything in the store was doing.
It was glowing.
It was, every color had more pop than I have ever thought a color could pop.
Almost like the color had an energy that was like the color.
Yeah.
Representing itself in an energetic or spiritual way almost.
Yeah, and it was
failing words. I don't have the best words for it.
You're good. It was in those
it had extra significance.
Yeah. And it wasn't just this experience, the waves, the colors, the quiet. When things started to come back, I started at almost a pinhole. Okay. So I'm looking around and I'm seeing like the bricks, they're waving at me. The counter I'm standing at is getting further away from me. So what I'm trying to do is brace. So I try to reach and grab this counter, which it's going further and further away from me. I'm trying so hard to grasp onto it. When I finally do, my brain goes, oh, we're grounded. The high was over. That was it. Like that. Like immediate. I didn't get enough time to react inside of this experience that it just happened.
So probably less than a few minutes?
It felt like it probably felt less than 10 minutes. I was standing, I literally stood there and everybody's watching me like,
of course they are. Yeah, I know that look. I know that look. I know that look.
Like, man,
I give people that look.
I'm on another level right now, man. I'm sweating thinking about it. Like I believe
it's bringing you back there a little bit.
Yeah,
dude. Whenever I talk about some of my trips, I feel like I start to trip. Some of my most powerful ones, when I start really trying to remember and describe them, I feel like I start tripping again.
I think it's our brains trying to materialize what we're really thinking about. So,
like when I want to jump back early, what you just said was perfect. when I was talking about like being a hero and how I would think back to past lives and whatnot, there was something I was going to bring up where I met, like how your brain can come up with very visual imagery when you think of something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it pops off. One time I thought about like if I had possibly been a knight in a past life, under the knight's code and real chivalry, a real knight. Okay. And then when I thought about that, visual, vivid imagery came to me, and it was these knights' swords, and they were like coming down from heaven and floating in such a way, and this very beautiful gilded armor, and it was just brief and it's gone. Yeah. And that was like almost like confirmation, like not like, I'm not trying to sound crazy where it's like, no, you were a knight before, but there was a real visceral feeling of like you come from a lineage of like honor, and yeah, you like there's within you instilled, although you're not a knight now, you have a piece of you that was a knight once before, or there's the multi-dimension theory where it's like there's a million infinite dimensions going on all at the same time, and you exist in all of them, and so therefore that means there is in fact a version of me in another reality that's playing out the knight role right now.
Check this out. So you mentioned that in another reality, and how our brains kind of think alike, and how lineage takes factor in this. So my daughter thinks exactly like this too. So a couple months back, she gets a wild hair up her ass, and for some reason starts a conversation with me and says, "Dad, do you know there may be other planets out there, and we may have a twin in another universe?"
That's now. I mean,
like she's
that's an original thought.
11, 12 at this time, and she's going to be 13 in July.
Do you ever wonder if she's getting ready to prepare you for things that you're not ready to hear coming out of her mouth?
Yes,
she's probably had thoughts,
and
maybe not even thoughts.
And I've kind of been gearing her up for it myself as well. So when I moved over, I found my path, and I knew that this no longer could be a secret ever.
What specifically?
Cannabis.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So when growing up and I was with my daughter's mom, I was smoking, partaking and stuff, and she knew QP and everybody, but it was almost shortly after when my daughter was born that, like I said, I got a scare where I didn't have sex for 2 years. I didn't talk to another individual in that kind of manner where I wanted to be in a relationship. I was scared that I was going to have another child. It was not planned, but a gift, So when I had my daughter, I stopped smoking weed, and my daughter's mom knew that I had stopped smoking. And for the longest time, I just kind of kept it a secret and started back up again. I don't think I ever really quit. Mm-hmm. It might have been for a very short period of time, a couple weeks to a month or whatever it was. But like, I knew that my life now is geared in this direction, and it can't be a secret no longer. Mm-hmm. So when I moved to Illinois, that I was going to open up freely and have whoever, whatever, ask questions when they felt necessary.
We need to inform ourselves. I've said this before on the podcast that, like,
not just ourselves, but like our children and our children's children, because mm-hmm. I personally don't want to keep living in reefer madness mm-hmm. when my grandparents went through reefer madness.
Right.
Like 50 plus years ago, man. Like,
vomiting is just the newest leg of it.
And it's bullshit. Mm-hmm. CHSs can't hear shit from all these benefits of this mm-hmm. plant. It's ridiculous. But
I think we're getting there, and I think we're going to get there because you and I are having this conversation.
Yes.
And not only that,
out in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's combining two different worlds because, like I said, you come from cannabis. I had the same, not the same experiences, but the same like time frame with my use in cannabis. But where rubber hit the road for me was when DMT came into the picture, because I decided to change my life before DMT came into the picture. Mm-hmm. And then DMT was jet fuel all over that mess.
When you were able to find out that your mind and body were capable of more stuff than what you thought originally.
Mhm.
When you introduced that psychedelic or that thing into, let's say my life was cannabis and yours was psychedelic, where it hits a certain place where we're now passionate
Mhm.
about this.
Yes,
This
I
isn't-
can't help myself.
This is not just like I said, I can clock in, clock out, do whatever, but I will never work a day in my life
Mhm.
from now on because I love what I do. This is a passion.
I want to get into, like, I think podcasting, I've never been able to help myself when it comes to talking. It doesn't matter what it is. If I'm interested in something, I'm going to talk about it.
Same.
I am fascinated by DMT and what it has done for me. One particular trip that I still can't wrap my head, I don't know if I ever will until maybe the day comes that I am on the other side of it looking through the tunnel. Like, let me describe this.
Oh, I completely see this visual. Like your brain wants to process something that you can see, but you can't actually touch, see, feel, do everything. You can manifest it.
Yes. I believe in that law of attraction. I don't know. I haven't read a lot of it, but I know. Yes, I agree with that. I agree that I can manifest things because I've manifested simple things before. I'll just be like thinking in my head, I'm not even. I want this to happen. This is about to happen, and it's going to happen to me. And then someone calls it out, and I'm like, fucking knew it. But anyway,
I don't want to say that's where my life has taken with cannabis, but I want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's hard to want to. You want to claim. It's like claiming something impossible.
Yeah.
But when this one particular DMT trip I had, I still don't know how to describe it. But the best butchering I can do of it is I saw the future. 100%. I saw the future, and I saw me standing in front of a wall that was like beautifully decorated with tiles. And I was standing in front of the wall, and to get to this point where I could see this, I spiritually took a form where I passed through a portal, like in a movie, where you see all these crazy colors, and it is, and like when you look, if you were to pay attention, look through as you're passing through this tunnel, you look into the colors, and each color is a portal into a different universe. I'm passing through this portal, and then I go, and I'm into this new place, and I am there. I am 100% there. I have a body, but I'm not aware of it. I am in this place, and standing before me is me.
Yes.
Slightly
Third
different.
person.
Yes. I am in a place. I am looking at me, and he is there. Like, you are there to me.
Yes.
And he just smiles at me. And he is the centerpiece, by the way, of this entire tile tapestry behind him.
Wow.
And he's just looking. I love that. He's just looking at me, and he's smiling. He's just smiling. And I've been thinking about this so hard. I keep going back to the same idea where it's like, I stress out a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I stress out about this. And I'll go to hit record by myself, another solo, solo 12, 13. And I'm thinking to myself, am I really even going anywhere? And then I think about that trip, and I think he's smiling because he knows where I'm going.
Yeah, there's something.
He knows where I'm going. He's like, you're worrying over nothing, buddy.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Because he doesn't have to say anything.
With that third person view, I got that a lot growing up. Whenever I started smoking weed, it felt like I was getting more of a third person view than my own view.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was in the classroom sitting at the desk, but not really. I am standing in the doorway, looking into the classroom, looking at myself at that desk, surrounded by students.
Out of body experience.
And it's all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know
that's what that
where is. And when and how I can react within these time frames. Because like you said, it's a blink of an eye and you could change something.
Dude, and the time warp of that experience too, where like it's weird to think how I passed through that portal instantaneously, but if I could pull from memory full enough what I could describe as the experience, there was no time. Like I could spend a lot of time in there passing through that portal.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it was an instant. And then I saw myself, I was there, and then I'm back. But at the same time, when I put my mind back there, it feels like it reaches outside of time, where there is no timeline effect. Where it's like if I could like focus on a focal point on one point, I'll transport back to that place and time's not existent anymore. And I'm like barely briefly looking through a dirty glass window of what that experience was,
Right.
because that's memory. It's
Right.
shitty now,
Right.
but that at the time of the experience, when I lay back and hit the bed, boom, I'm being presented with
A clean window.
yes,
Instead of a dirty.
yes, it's not even a window. I've stepped through the window and I'm in that world.
Okay.
I'm not viewing it anymore. I'm there.
So what if we were to let's say there's a cannabinoid that can do similar things if you were isolated and give it to an individual in the right manner.
Mhm.
Like let's say you take THC JD, the one I told you about with my mom, that's heavy indica with a chill sensation.
Mhm.
Okay, so that cannabinoid specifically has a zero tolerance level. So basically, you can smoke or consume this cannabinoid every single day and have the same exact effect every
That's
single
lovely.
fucking day. And that's why it is a benefit for my mom with fibromyalgia. She will never have to increase her dose.
And she will build up a tolerance.
She has actually cut her gummies in half to dial it down, so she's not as like, okay, so she's got this new aura ring or whatever,
Oh,
tracking her sleep, tracking her REM sleep, tracking
Yes.
everything. She's able to dial everything down to where, like, okay, so I'm asleep for this point of time, and if I take this much gummy, then I'm really out for this much, and I don't need this much. Like, she can dial herself in,
Mhm.
like understanding what cannabinoids do, what our body is doing, what our vitals say. Like, if this thing was a Fitbit, I'd be wearing a Fitbit right now, trying to,
Right.
isolate everything about me that I can utilize to help benefit myself. Like, I want cannabis to do the exact same thing. I want that CBG, I want the CBD, I want CBC, I want THC, I want every cannabinoid that you can think of, but it's in its own property value.
Mhm.
Like,
You can use it exactly what it does.
yes,
For what it does for.
isolate it down to the milligram dosage. If you want to go to the 110,000th, whatever position, to get that exact dose for that individual, there can be probably a number that I have no idea amount of medications that can be pulled out of just cannabis.
This is this is why this conversation is important, because, and this is why I love that our two worlds are clashing like this, because the fact that where we're headed with cannabis, we're really close to like almost hitting the goalpost. It feels like in some ways.
We're getting really, really close. Yeah.
Obviously, it could still possibly not even be in our lifetime, but we'll get so far. We've come so far just from where I was as a kid, where I was thinking this is never going to be.
We
and then here we are.
we have so much research and stuff done under our belt up to this date, and it's not to a legal status yet.
Mhm.
I mean, federally, like once we hit this whole nother legal status realm, it opens up that avenue where, like I said, scientists and pharmaceutical technicians can break this thing down and make that sativex that they're already producing, that it's a 1-to-1 THC CBD capsule that you are now able to, pharmaceutically dose somebody with. So when I was in pharmaceutical, there was 3 pharmaceutical cannabis driven pharmaceuticals out there that Big Pharma was already working on and had available. Sativex was one of them. Now, like I said, it is using just cannabinoids, CBD and THC in a 1-to-1. I don't think it has anything else.
What does that mean, a 1-to-1? Like same ratio?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So the 1-to-1 is just the ratio. So
Mhm.
like if you were to get like a 20-to-1, whether it be a higher in THC.
That's going to be
or,
like 2,000 THC
rather
on
than
something else.
correct, or
Like,
a 20, or if you were to get, if we do it in just single milligrams, let's say you get 20 to 1 where it's 20 THC and 1 CBD, or a 1 to 20 where it's THC on 1 and more 20 milligram on CBD. But yet you're still only using cannabinoids.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a whole nother profile that we haven't looked at, terpenes. And terpenes have their own set thing. Myrcene is found in honey, natural bee honey that we get from the store.
Is that MYR?
Yep.
Myrcene?
Myrcene, I believe it is.
I think I've seen that before, but I don't know anything about it.
So myrcene is a relaxing terpene profile.
Coming from honey?
Comes from honey. So let's say it's just naturally derived, okay, instead of man-made or lab-made or whatever. It comes from a plant or it comes from an animal that has been then harvested or extracted. Yes. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, if you were able to get, let's say, myrcene with your THC and CBD ratio, then you have more of a indica feel in our cannabis world.
I think part of what, actually I'm glad you brought up terpenes, because I think that might have actually been.
Welcome back. And there we have it. The first ever guest conversation. I hope you enjoyed. And once again, if you want to see the full uncut version, go to my Patreon and check it out. I made it as cheap as I possibly could, and so that way anyone can join, and as things develop and the future unfolds, the podcast will grow and you will aid in its growth. And for that, I deeply thank you. And for everyone that is going to join us in 2026, I cannot wait for everything to grow and continue to expand, because I can feel the range in which it can grow. And for everyone that wants to join and be a part of it, that is an amazing, beautiful thing. Thank you. Until next time. Oh.